Welcome to Directly to You. It's the fanatixfour podcast. I'm AJ of fanatixfour. I'm joined by Parker of fanatixfour. We do the show. We talk about video games and stuff. You can support the show and the channel and the other videos that we make by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour or twitch.tv/fanatixfour. Give them $4.99. And it don't even got to be yours if you're on twitch.tv. You can give us the Bezos money and take it right out of his pocket. He's not the richest man anymore. And that's because people been giving people Bezos bucks. You can give it to us by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get a free sub. You got to renew it manually. That's the part. That's how you earn your money. You got to remember to click the subscribe with Prime every month. You should give it to us. It's fun. You get loyalty badges. You get emotes. You get free Switch keys from time to time. You get access to the supporters only Discord. It's great. You get to say Min Pog. You get to say Squirtle Yeet. It's a good old time. But if you don't do that, you can still join the Discord for the free by clicking the link in the description. Oh, also, I didn't mention, if you are a Twitch subscriber or a YouTube member, by clicking the join button on youtube.com/fanatixfour, you can listen to us record this very show live, like Trev, and be the peanut gallery and contribute to the show when we look at the chat. Anyways, we play video games here. What are you playing?
Right now, I'm playing who actually is the richest person in the world. And
it's
Elon Musk now.
Yep.
How did that happen? Like just out of the blue?
I think.
I mean, he's been rich, but not
like Tesla stock went up a lot or something.
Man, it went up a lot. That's crazy. I don't know anything. All right, whatever. Yeah, man, playing games. Both of the main games I'm playing. Actually, no, that's not entirely true. Yeah, two of the main games I'm playing are talking points in this episode. So we'll get to those when we get to those. Mario Party Superstars, we'll talk about that. And it's good. I like it. And Animal Crossing New Horizons. And we'll talk about that also in a little bit.
It's true.
The stuff that I am playing that's not those is let me just make sure there's nothing else. But the easy one is I'm playing a bunch of N64 games. Have you heard about this?
Unfortunately, I have heard about N64 games before.
I don't know. I haven't played any of the N63 ones, so I don't really know where they're coming from. I haven't found the origin story yet, but at least I kind of just jumped right in the middle. That was a joke. Trickery. But yeah, no, N64 games. I booted it up and immediately played some Mario 64.
I saw
which
that.
I was and hence the tweet and stuff. And I was like, this is very silly. Like I knew I was gonna do it, but like it feels very silly because it's like I could just do a new save file on my regular game.
Yep.
But I didn't. So yeah, so that, and then tried out Mario Tennis a little bit, and it's pretty fun. It's like it's obviously more bare bones than the later ones and stuff, and feels a little bit harder in that like controls.
Is there a story mode in that one?
There's not really, so I kind of just messed around with it, and there's a tournament that you can do. And yeah, honestly, the computers kind of get hard as far by my standards, at least for it, because I'm not phenomenal at the game or anything like that. So I did some of that. I played about 12 seconds of win back, and then I stopped immediately. Do you know anything about that game?
I know absolutely nothing. All I know is that Bob and Will were like interested about, or not interested, it's a weird way to describe that. They were like, this game.
Yep. So apparently, I mean, the theory that I've heard is that like because Koei Tecmo has been doing so much stuff with Nintendo, they're like, we'll get one of your games just right up at the beginning, kind of as a favor sort of thing. I don't know. Which like I don't know how it's doing them any favors, but who's to say? But yeah, it's like third person shooter kind of thing, but with tank controls, and I care zero about any of that.
Big nasty, super nasty.
So I mean, maybe it's not technically tank controls. I don't know. But it's something like that. It's like as soon as you start to shoot, it's like Resident Evil, and you stop and like
yeah, that's tank controls.
Okay, cool. So yeah, that was not particularly fun. And then some other N64 games. I think I haven't started up Ocarina of Time yet because I wanted to start that whenever I'm gonna play more of it, which is not right now for reasons we'll get to in a bit. But that's me for now. That's what I've been playing. other than the ones we'll talk about.
I
What
have
about you?
not been playing N64 games. The thing that I did the second that I got the NSO stuff was I played Sonic. So
Nice.
I was like, what game on here do I even care about playing a little bit? I'm like, all of these N64 games I know age like garbage. I already know. And it was like when it first came out, so it was like people weren't complaining about it yet. But that's the thing that's funny about it, because it's like we talked about this like way before it was even a thing, where it was like they probably won't do that because these games kind of suck. Like they kind of age poorly, and people are complaining that they age poorly. Like they're like blaming it on the online service and being like, oh, the emulation's bad. It's like, no, these games are bad. Like the games suck.
I think it's funny because the bits where people are complaining about that sort of thing, like the things where it's like, no, it's always been like however this thing is that. And then the other things truly are like, they're things that I think would be better if they were the right way, like the fog in Ocarina of Time. Yep, it would be great if the fog is there like it's supposed to be there, I guess. But also, who cares like at all? Other than for preservation stuff or like the aesthetic a little bit. It's like
Ocarina of Time is one of the best preserved games. You can play Ocarina of Time so many different ways, dude. It's not hard to play Ocarina of Time. I don't understand, like people complain about the complaining about preservation with Nintendo games is particularly weird to me. Like I saw somebody complaining about 3D All-Stars getting an update or something recently, and they're like, I can't believe they updated a game you can't even buy right now. I'm like, yo, there's 8 million copies of this. 8 million. If you wanted to buy this game, they manufactured it and it's still in stores. I still see it in stores. People are stupid and I hate them all.
No, I mean, I think preservation is good and it's important, and the game's being done well is great, but it's just not as
it's not in this dire need of preservation because it's already preserved. You can play this game like that. How can people complain about these two things in tandem? Like how can you complain about Nintendo selling you the same game 8 times but then say that they're not good at preserving their IP? Like what? Like you bought it on 8 different platforms.
So that stuff. But that said, I actually played a couple of Genesis games as well. I was like, I've never really played a Castlevania game, and so I tried out Bloodstained. I think that's what it's called. No, Castlevania Bloodlines. And it's the classic kind of Castlevania, and I don't care about that one bit. But it's fine. I can see the appeal, but it's not for me. And then I think I played a couple other, like I played Rise Star a little bit, which is actually kind of fun. And I don't remember what else. So there you go. Yeah. Those games.
Nice.
You been playing anything else?
I was going to play Pokemon Unite, but I'm waiting to play Pokemon Unite until they do the reset, because then I can actually play the video game with people. Nice. So that's on the docket. But other than that, just the stuff that's in the news and Smash. Yeah. I did another session with Quid. Nice. And every time I do a session with these people, a lot of times they're like, it's great, but you got to spam this move more. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then it works. It's like, so
yeah,
that was that. The move I was told to spam more last time was Ivysaur's up air.
Nice. And do you do it now? Is that the culmination of the story?
I do it now, and it works. Which I mean, it's mostly just a thing of like making it easier to get an early kill before I get killed, because like I don't have the problem with like neutral. Like if I'm on the opposite end of the screen from my opponent, I will probably hit them before they hit me. But stuff like using up air more will make sure that they die, so we don't have to reset to those situations as many times. So there's that.
Fun times. Nice. And then I guess let's talk about the stuff in the news. Number 1, Animal Crossing update has come out. It came out early, which like kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, not mad about it, but like super bizarre.
I was like, I didn't know if it was early or not, because I was like, did they say when the update was coming out?
Yeah, they said.
Then I saw a graphic that it was like the DLC and the update was coming out on the same day, and I was like, oh.
Yep. So I didn't check for the DLC, but I think I went to my airport and didn't see I want to fly to, maybe I just didn't go to I want to fly anywhere. Was the DLC there early as well, or was it just the updated?
No. The DLC came out at midnight.
It was downloaded,
because
but
I
not
literally I got off stream.
Yeah.
And Youth was like, "Oh, look, the update's out," and I was like, okay, good," because I'm not like,
Yeah.
because if I would have still been streaming, I would have stayed on longer and like checked it out for a little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't want to stream that long. So I had good timing apparently.
Yeah, apparently. So no, I literally was like, as it was happening, just happened to, I was going on my island because I've been working on, so that you came to my island for the
It's
first
true.
time. Look at that.
True. Finally, it only took a year and a half.
Oh man. Also, can you believe it's been a year and a half since COVID? Like, that's
what do you mean
so
since?
long? I mean, well,
still,
yeah, exactly. Just since it started, like
since
that's
the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. But that whatever.
Yo, it's been a year and a half since freaking PAX, dude.
That is true.
Right. Yeah, Parker built he built his own resonant service. It's crazy, dude.
I had a lot of fun because I could hear you guys, but there was such a delay with it too. So like when the Godzilla thing happened, where I was like scared, and then after we left, then like 2 minutes later, I heard you guys both being like, "What was he talking about?" And I was like, "We're going back."
Like, what's scared?
And it was like taking so much time to type things out in little things. So I was
you
like,
should use the phone.
Oh,
yeah, you should use that.
Truly forgot that was even a feature that existed. But yeah, so that was my island. I've been working on the stage area over there. It's not quite done yet.
You said you gutted the room in your house. We didn't get to see the other. We saw like 2 rooms in your house, and I was like, all right.
The other ones are like the bedroom's kind of boring. It's fine. And then the downstairs, you saw it for like half a second. Yeah, and then the room in the back is a bathroom where I've just collected all the different kinds of toilets and just lined the back wall with all the different kinds of toilets that there are, which is really fun. Oh man. But yeah, that stage I put up 2 inclines for it. And so each of those like cost 168,000 bells. And so it's like, I'm out of money at this point and I need to buy Pat Green. Let me come to his island so I could touch his base so that I can buy my own now. But it costs 81,000 bells and I don't have 81,000 bells right this second. I almost do. I will in a minute.
Money, dude.
I'll have money soon.
I have big money. Dude.
You do. So tell me
more
about.
But I don't have big enough money. I'm trying to get you rich. I keep telling people this. I was saying Bezos money, but he's not the richest anymore. I want Elon Musk money and Animal Crossing. I am on a mission to become big rich.
Do you have a number associated with that? Like,
I want at least 100 million bells. At least.
My Are you going to do like turnip market stuff for that, I guess?
Okay. Absolutely. I am trying to become big rich. And Colton is big rich. Twitch.tv/The Colton Show, but he cheated, dude. He cheated. He's not big rich, actually. Like, he did the crown thing. Allegedly, he said that. He said his lawyers when the duplication.
Oh, you duplicate.
So like he spin the thing. He cheated, man. He cheated. But me, I'm self-made, dude. I came from the dirt.
I mean, you had a bit of an inside scoop on the stock market a little bit,
I mean, I kind of did, but I spent all that money. Like my turn, like the last, I'd spent like, I don't know, like $3-4 million on bells. The Animal Crossing stands don't come for me. On turnips right before the DLC came out, but I had the time travel for so that so I can get the DLC, I mean the update stuff and show it on stream.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So when I did that, I was like, oh crap, I gotta sell the turnips that I have, because otherwise I just wasted 5 million bells or something like that I bought for like 95 bells per turnip, and I sold them off for 185. And Youth was like, the day before, I think she was like, yo, my turnip prices are 135. And I was like, that is not enough money. That's not enough money. And even the amount of money that I sold it for, I'm not exactly happy with. I wanted to sell them for like 350 at least. But I'll
Yep.
do it this week.
How's the turnip market going? I wonder, like that website.
The website? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea. I've just been using my influence. I'm like, yo, people in chat, what are your turnip prices?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get big money, dude. Their turnip prices weren't enough for me yet. Because I asked on like Tuesday or something.
There's a lot of things. I wish one of the things that they changed was making, like, being able to do multiples of things at a time or whatever, that whole thing, like being able to.
This man Trev out here lying. He said his turnip prices were $4.76, but AJ didn't care. He doesn't even play the game. Trev the whole time just hating on the game in chat, but it's fine because I always tell him how garbage Ocarina of Time is. So
there you go. It's tit for tat.
Yeah, except for he's wrong and I'm right.
I've got like 120 something thousand Nook miles, which is like a pretty substantial amount of Nook miles. And if I could trade them for the Bells tickets, like multiple at a time, then I'd probably do a bunch of that and then make a bunch of money. But it's so tedious to do it because it's like every time you have to do.
How much Bells did it even give you for 500?
3,000 for 500.
That's not worth.
It's not great. But it was funny, like when I was watching you on Twitch for a minute while you got the update, and then I got the update, and then we were both at the Nook Miles thing getting all of the like upgrades or whatever, and just like hearing both of us like just back and forth. I was like, all right, I'm turning this off because this is too. I'm turning off the stream because I was like, this is too much to like deal with it. But it was my time. But yeah, overall, I mean, what do you think? You're back into playing the game some now. I'm going to go ahead and steal a question from Mega Man asked in Discord in Q&A. On a scale from 1 to 10, how addicted to Animal Crossing are you again?
I'm a good 7. I'm a 7, maybe like a 6.5. Like I'm there, like I want to play it, but I don't want to play it like I wanted to play it, like when it was like a thing, like, and part of that is because the game made me very angry. Like I was very close to not playing it at all. Because
which thing specifically?
The museum situation, getting Blathers. Because getting Brewster from Blathers because he wouldn't talk to me about the freaking thing, and everybody was like, "Well, I went through all the blog sites and all the like freaking Prima guides and all that stuff, and I did all the stuff that it told me to do." So I just kept doing it more. Like they were like, you have to have at least one thing in all your museums or whatever. So I was like, okay, let me get another painting from Red. Let me get another sea creature. Let me get another fish, like stuff like that. And it didn't work for me until I had 5 sea creatures in my museum.
Interesting. The painting from Red one is also, that's kind of a nuisance because those aren't, or do you only need one of them? In there,
they said you need 1. I have 3, so I don't know.
So at least, that's good to know at least, because I feel like 1 is manageable, but Red is so unpredictable to come to your island at all that like any more than that would be a little bit a pain.
Granted, you could cheese it now because you could just donate. Well, if you have big money, you could just donate the 100,000 bells to get him on Harv's Island.
It's true.
And,
you can just.
But then you gotta wait a day and all that. But it's better than it because when I went to do it to get another painting, I had to like go forward like 15 days. Like it was so annoying. And it was even more annoying because that wasn't the thing that actually like made it go off, and I was like, I'm telling you, I was so close to not playing the video game. And I was talking to you because she loves streaming, like she likes engaging with the chat and like that whole part of it. So she was like, yo, are you streaming? I was like, no, I don't want to stream because I want to stream Animal Crossing, but I don't ever want to play the video game again. So she was like going through like looking at all the same blog sites, and then she has like a group chat or whatever with other people in our community because she wants help with her island. There's some people that have crazy islands. Nice. So she's getting consultation. So yeah, it was like went through all that stuff. And then Heart Me Cutie was like telling me the same stuff where it was like, okay, yeah, go here and do that and blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I see it. I know. I hate everything. But it finally worked. And here we are. And I got a Brewster, and I'm mad that you can't get tea. All you can get is coffee, and it's
oh, it's just coffee. Nice.
just
Interesting.
coffee.
I mean, I don't know why I said nice. It's
Daisy May, she gets cookies because she's a child.
nice.
But you can't get cookies. You can only get
Is it?
coffee.
Can you order different kinds of coffee? So Bruce
I think he randomly
tomorrow.
gives you coffee. I mean, like different types of coffee.
Okay, gotcha.
Because like when you drink it, they're like, it has hints of what being coffee.
Yeah.
Not.
For what it's worth, I think the Roost is still probably, I mean, it's like the name brand appeal of the update kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's probably the thing that I'd be the least excited about, all things
I
considered, because
mean,
it's like,
but it was just annoying that a part of the update was walled off from me for no reason. Like that was the thing that was making me mad. It wasn't because I was like, I'm dying to be in the Roost. Like, and like a lot of people are like joking because I don't like coffee. So they're like, oh, it's because you don't like coffee. And I was like, still annoyed because I'm like, yo, like, I don't care if I hate coffee. I don't care if I'll never go to the Roost. It is annoying that I arbitrarily cannot go to it. Like that is very frustrating.
Yeah. That reminded me of an anecdote that's fully unrelated to Animal Crossing. So if you want to hear more Animal Crossing stuff, skip over what I'm about to say. I guess. But when I was 5, my sister was 7. So we were living in France at the time, and my sister didn't like peanut butter at the time for a long time or whatever. And then we were coming to the States, and my dad went up to the passport agent dude, and asked him like, hey, he was this like really tall, big guy. And he was like, hey, could you just ask my daughter if she likes peanut butter? And he was just like, didn't say anything, just kind of blank stared. My dad was like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
And then like dad came back, and then we all went up there, and then my dad gave us passport, guy checked it. Mom gave her passport, guy checked it. And then my sister gave her passport, and he looked at it for a second and goes, little girl, do you like peanut butter?
Oh my God.
And she like freaked out for a second, and then like put 2 and 2 together because she was 7 and not super dumb, but like for a second was mortified that like she wouldn't be let into America. I think there's backstory of like my parents would say, joking, they'd be like, you can't go to America if you don't like peanut butter, and that was
they're not entirely wrong. America loves peanut butter.
America does love peanut butter. So yeah, that's it. Animal Crossing. Yeah, man.
The thing that's funny is like now I have mental images when you talk about these people. Like, yo, I know what your dad looks like. I was like, I can imagine that joke now.
AJ, how long? Okay, for details. Yeah, AJ edited a video for a birthday thing that my friend Mitch, like, you guys know Mitch, kind of organized, but then had like lots of friends send little birthday messages, and AJ edited all of it. How long did that take, or like when did you first know about it, or any of that stuff?
So I knew a long time ago. Like, I'm gonna say like a month plus.
Gotcha. Nice.
And Mitch was like, "Do not tell Parker." And I was like, "Why would I tell Parker? Why would I do that?" And there was like times where I was like talking to, like, I wouldn't even tell Twitch chat. I wasn't telling anybody. Like, I was like, I got to do something tomorrow. Like, I mean, I told people, like I told Youth, she knew.
Yeah.
And like some other people that don't know, that aren't like in the fold, like IRL friends and stuff, like I had to do something for Parker. Like, but for the most part, I wasn't like, I'm doing this thing. I was like, I got to do a thing. I like I can't stream longer because I got to do X, Y, and Z. But I wasn't able to like really start it until the day before. Because I got like, I had your parents' clip. I had some other like happy birthday messages and stuff like that. And I think I had James's clip. And I was like, I can put this together, but I can't really put it together because like I didn't even have Mitch's part, and his part is like pretty early in the video. So like once I got all that stuff, when I got back from New York, and I had to like reschedule when I came back to New York because I was supposed to come back to New York that night. But I was like, I'm not gonna have time to edit this if I like, that's not gonna work. So I came back at like noon or something like that, and then I worked on it from then until I wouldn't say like 8 hours that day. And then the next day, I woke up at like 9 and I edited for like another 4 hours or something like that.
Goodness.
But yeah, turned out.
Well,
good.
you did a great job.
Most of it was because I was like, I gotta do like motion stuff. Like the freaking the smoking part took forever. It took so long. It took so long. It would have took like the thing is, like, if I did it and made it look good, you know, like not look stupid, it would have been way faster because I could have just found like realistic effects and not really had to keyframe it as much. But I wanted to look kind of dumb. So I had to find a specific one and like animate it, and it was a whole.
No, that's hard, especially like once you commit to that a little bit too. You're like, gotta do the whole thing.
Yeah, once I did it the first time, I was like, I gotta do it every other time he pulls out the fake cigarette.
Man, no, that's hilarious. I mean, I just put it up on it's on my channel just as unlisted so that everybody could go see it and stuff that was in it. But I'll put it maybe in the description here, so in case you guys also want to put faces to names or whatever, you can see who my family is and my friends are and stuff.
It's true.
And see AJ's face again. Ugh.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, you see my face and I'll just skip it.
Yeah. So yeah, that stuff. That was a fun
Did you tell them about the pears?
Somebody was like, what was the thing about the pears? And I started to say it. And then Mitch was like, oh yeah, that thing. And then something else happened. So it got distracted. So it almost came up and then it didn't.
Nice.
But yeah. Speaking of pears, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing has pears.
It does. Have you played the like DLC part of it yet?
I did today specifically. So I updated it. I mean, I turned it on. I was getting like new something like that. And then I went through and I did the thing where like I'm trying to work, and then I like customized my uniform, and then I don't know if it's the same person, but Eloise or something like that, I think her name is.
Is that the otter or something?
I don't remember what type of animal she is.
Cool.
But oh no, I'm not talking about like, it's not like a staff person. It's like the first client that I got.
Okay, gotcha.
I customized her thing. I did like one client, and I was like, all right, I get it. I gotta do other stuff now. So I did the first one, and also I wanted to like do most of it on stream. I kind of was like debating if I was like, do I want to save this? But if I save it, I can't talk about it on the podcast. So
yep.
It's
no, I don't. Like, I haven't actually touched the DLC stuff yet. So
sorry, he's right.
I'm also curious if people
is that
the same people or not.
Yeah, is that like a set thing? Does everybody get Eloise, or is it random?
Oh, we'll see. Sorry to let us know.
I got okay. So that's two people out of people I know that did it. So probably
seems like maybe a set thing. Then
that was like, I'm always like, ever since the freaking the Pokemon DLC when I got. Shut up, Trev. Ever since the Pokemon DLC, when I got the shiny Bisharp, and I was like, yo, everybody gets a shiny the first time, right? I'm never sure ever again.
Yeah. I'm curious. So then is everybody set, or is it just the first person, or I don't know. We'll have to
find out. I'm also annoyed because I got a whole nother thing of currency, and I can't get big rich in that currency. Like,
oh, that's true.
I gotta like actually work. Like, that's not cool.
So when you finished your house or whatever, like build her house, and then it's done, and then she just stays there, right? And then you could come back later and do more to it, or
I guess if she asks to do that. I don't know. I didn't do any other clients. I did buy chocolate though, so that I can tell people that are on my island, be like, yo, this other island's a thing. You got big money, you're trying to have another house.
What's the chocolate do with that?
It's the chocolate, it's souvenir chocolates. You can go to your island and be like, yo, this island, they got chocolate and they got houses and stuff. Here's chocolate. Buy a house.
Interesting. Oh, cool. Well, I'm excited to play it some. I'm surprised Ashley hasn't played the update yet. And part of the reason for that is I think she feels self-conscious about her island compared to other people's islands. And I was like, first of all, your island is great. But like, your own island is always going to feel less good than like seeing somebody else's, because then you're like, oh, I never even thought of that thing and that thing and that thing, even if it's like it's not that great, it's just like some random stuff, and to them it's same old, but to you it's new, so like it seems newer.
My island sucks. I don't really care though, because like I didn't put that much effort into the island itself. I just put a lot of effort into that streaming room, and I was like, once I'm done with that, I'm done. But I might make my island better. Who knows?
Yeah, and also for me, I think there was some point that I'd finished the like main content stuff and wanted to still be playing so that I could still be playing with Ashley. So I think I probably ended up working more on my island bits than she did in that regard. But in any case, I'm excited for her to get to play stuff. The one thing we were surprised about is that the announcement kind of made it seem like things are going to be more like everything's ready all at once up front. So I was a little bit surprised that like Brewster didn't show up right away, or what were the other things? I don't remember what the other things were. They're like, just
I feel like they talked about like I know for sure Harv's thing was like you got to
the
crowdfunding and stuff like that. And I don't know if they said that the Roost was going to be just like straight up available, but I did feel like we were going to have to like set it up, because like,
okay, cool.
When have we not? Like every time there's been something like that added to the island, it's always that thing where it's like, you got to either crowdfund it, or you got to do like some sort of fetch quest situation, and then wait until the next day, and then it's construction, and wait through that, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I guess the other thing that was like that was going on the new island tours. I don't remember what they're called, but those ones probably, I guess in the original game, maybe those things were, I mean, not the original game, but just older games, it's also a once a day thing. I don't really know.
I don't remember. I feel like you could.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise.
I feel like you could have. I think the only other game that you could do island stuff is New Leaf. But I don't remember if it was once per day or not.
I mean, and in that one, probably those islands, like, because now there's 2 different island things you can go to. I guess 3 if you include Happy Home Designer. But yeah, those are, since they're different from each other, I can imagine how they were more separate.
Also, the thing that's cool, but that I wish they did it when you go to other people's islands, is you can go between islands, so you don't have to go home to go to Harv's Island if you're on the vacation home island. I wish you could do that. Like if I'm on your island, I can go straight to Harvey or whatever. Like
I guess I was going to say this earlier too, when I was mentioning that, like, I'd love to buy more Nook Miles tickets all at once, or not Nook Miles tickets, but the like the Bell tickets or whatever with Nook Miles. There's a degree to which I can tell or know, or we all know or whatever, that like Nintendo's plan for this game is for it to be a slow paced game and to be a little tedious. And that's like part of the game design. And that's part of the concept. So it's like kind of in a way wrong for me to want things to be optimized a little bit, but at the same time, it's not wrong for me to want it, but it is wrong for me to expect it. I think
that the only reason why I want that is, I mean, I would have wanted it anyway, but I think it makes sense because they do it in other places. But the part of me that is like, well, this is probably why they did that, is because they probably cannot on a technical level, because obviously there's something that they're doing when you go from your island to somebody else's island. Like if it's not going through that whole thing and you can't skip it because they just want to make you wait, like they're using that time for something. But I mean, it's kind of like the Metroid, like shooting the doors and it's loading the game, like that sort of situation.
I mean, probably I'd imagine one of the things it could be doing is like recataloging the stuff on your island to know which things person can interact with or not. Like,
that's what I was talking about.
That's like something that would probably
like
take a minute.
Your best friends can do certain things that normal people can't.
And that's values that probably when it's just you on your island, like that's information that's not associated with those things probably. But then as soon as a new person comes, like then it would have to like reevaluate that. Is my guess. I mean, I'm not a developer, so I don't know.
The game itself takes a bit to load.
Honestly,
it loads like everything. It seems like most next gen games where it's like it loads everything up front, so there's less loading throughout. Because like in old Animal Crossing games, it would take way longer to go in and out of a door, but it does a lot of that loading when you turn the video game on now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know what the reason is that you can't go from
Right.
your friend's island to Harvey, but it would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, it would.
Even if I had to wait longer for loading, like just being able to not have to go to the airport and then talk to freaking Orville or whatever would make me want. I mean, it would be worth for me.
Yep. All in all, I mean, I'm excited to play more of it. I guess I never answered Megman's question earlier. For me, like how addicted I am to it again. I think if 10 was where I was back, like, you know, March of last year, probably like a 7.5, something like that. Where like, yeah, I'm definitely like looking forward to opening it up and getting the items that I bought yesterday. Like I haven't really time traveled much. I could easily. I did time travel the first day because the update came out at like 9 p.m. for me. Yeah. I think it was like 10 p.m. for you, so, or around then for sure, where I was like, well, I need my shop. So I just time traveled to like 4 p.m. so that I could like actually do stuff. So that, but yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of time traveling, but I also am not opposed to it at all. So man,
I only do it for content.
Yeah.
Just like when I did it for the initial thing. Cause it was like, remember, I wanted to make the video the first week that it came out. But my video was on Tuesday. So I was like, well, I can't do a week's worth of stuff if I don't, you know. So it's like, it's stuff like that. So it's like I wanted to do stuff on stream, but I had the time travel to like to be able to do it and blah blah blah. But if I'm just playing it normal, I'm just gonna play it like I did, or not like I did, but I'm gonna play it the way that the game wants me to play it. When the game's like, all right, you're done, I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that makes the game last longer. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll find out. I'm especially curious about the DLC and how. Like, I mean, I feel like we got a pretty good idea from even the trailers and stuff of the gameplay loop there, but like whether I'm misinformed about it or anything like that, like we'll find out. Whether or not we were misinformed about that, we were informed about Nintendo's financial results for Q2 of 2021.
They made monies.
They did make the monies. Man, there's like 27 articles about different little bits and pieces of this. So like I didn't pull all of them, but I've got like some stuff specifically here and I've got the financial results up. So this stuff's always interesting because like there's a lot of different little bits of information you can glean from it.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe less
sometimes
now
in a way
than
that is not accurate. Which I feel like is one of the things that we'll probably talk about.
Yes. Well, I'm curious which one you're talking about.
I'm talking about the infrastructure thing that they're making Switch Online better. And I'm like, I don't think you know what online infrastructure means. It's another one of those ISP things of people being like, oh, they're laying down fiber. Like, that's not what that means. That means that they're going to put more games and DLC and stuff. It doesn't mean that they're installing broadband. Like
Trev said, netcode, Synergy, or Synergy. I would say Synergy accidentally now because that's a word from Golden Sun. That's the like magic in that is called Synergy, but with a P at the beginning, like Psy. And so now, like, I remember reading somewhere seeing people say like, yeah, people in business always say synergy as if like, you know, that being a buzzword. And I was like, they're referencing Golden Sun and spelling it wrong. Like, yeah, I got it wrong. But yeah, we can just jump to that part. I don't care that.
We should just talk about it overall first and then go into the bits and pieces.
Yeah. So big picture wise, and you could, you know, fill in any gaps that I miss or anything. They made less money this year or this quarter than last quarter. I mean, than last time this year. But that's not that surprising for a lot of the reasons. One of the things too that
Nintendo's going downhill, dude.
I mean, pretty much the worst.
They're going to be bankrupt.
They changed their forecast to, I didn't put this article in here, but they changed their forecast from I think 25.5 million for Switches for the year to 24 million Switches for the year. But then they also changed their forecast from 190 million software units sold up to 200 million software units sold. So
that's probably
bounces out.
That's probably a game dev timeline being
moved up
faster. Yeah, faster than they thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because knowing
maybe they
Nintendo,
get
like they were
Kirby
being
out.
super conservative with their like
Yeah.
their estimates of like this game's probably going to be done a year from now, and then they're like, well, oh shoot, well,
Yep.
it's actually going to be done in 6 months. Like we thought COVID
Yep.
was going to like mess us up way more than it did, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like Trev just said in the comments too, better margins on software than hardware. So I mean, all things considered,
I mean that's the end goal at the end of the day.
More money.
Yep.
Yeah, I do wonder what game. I guess we'll find out when we find out what's going on in
Breath of the Wild 2.
4. No. Yep, coming out. I mean, I hope that would be great, but I doubt it.
What's the difference? Like 10 million? How much?
10 million. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah. I could also be some third-party games in there too that they know about that got confirmed. You know,
if it's 10 million within the fiscal year or whatever, that's like 5, 10, potentially 15 third-party games.
I mean, could also be just games that they're selling that are selling better than they expected. You know, like pre-existing
could be
games
Metroid.
That like could be Metroid, could be just, you know, like, oh, Mario Kart and Animal Crossing are just doing, instead of selling the like 3 million this year, it looks like they're going to sell 4 million each or something like that. Probably way more than that.
I don't even know if they would be able to say for Animal Crossing for sure right now.
Yeah,
because
not
at
that
DLC,
point for
like,
sure.
What impact is that having?
Yeah, I mean, and it's looking at the million seller units, like some interesting standout ones. So already Mario Kart 8 has sold 3.34 million units just in
insanity,
just in the first 2 quarters, which are like not strong quarters.
Stop buying this video game so we can get Mario Kart 9. Cut it out. We've had enough. It passed Wii. That's peg it up, everybody.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you count the Wii U version, it been past Wii
for a long time. Yeah, it's like 8 million past it or 9 million past it or whatever, which is ridiculous.
Stop buying the video game. We're done.
One of the other things, Skyward Sword has now sold more in the HD version than it did on the Wii, which is
also insanity.
Yeah, just like within
and less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year. And that's one that definitely is going to have a long tail behind it because, you know, it's a Zelda game.
I'll stop buying my one a month, AJ. Thank you.
New Pokemon Snap is interesting. I hadn't noticed this the last time, but I'm sure it was there as well. It's only tracking the non-Japan sales in their million sellers because the Japan sales, I think, is being published by Bandai Namco. They're not counting it as Nintendo or it must be Bandai because it's not the Pokemon Company, because the Pokemon Company would be within Nintendo, and Pokemon Sword and Shield are on here. So I mean,
I don't think Nintendo counts Pokemon Company's revenue in their.
I mean, I'm just in that. I think because they have a stake in it, they just like, they might not count it as their like full on revenue, but just that they're like, oh, this is one of ours, you know, kind of something. Just in that it's listed in their million sellers for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but not for new Pokemon Snap. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, I guess we can figure out roughly however many have sold in Japan. And so that's not really the
because
but it's just interesting.
Way more forthcoming.
Yeah.
Like we don't get NPD sales unless you pay thousands of dollars a month.
And I do. Yeah. Just, you know, to mortgage and taxes and all that kind of stuff. Mario Golf Super Rush so far sold just shy of 2 million. Probably that's going to be one that has a long tail, I'd guess, as well. Pretty often. So I don't know. It's for you in here.
I mean, this is all around what I would have expected.
Yeah.
No, I think all this makes sense.
Nice.
There's nothing super shocking here.
Yep. And then let's see some other things. I mean, they talk about, it's always funny to see articles about this where they're like, yep, looks like everything's still on track to meet its target release windows. But like,
yeah,
we've said this before in here, I'm sure, but this is not the place that they would change that, you know, like maybe they did once. Like that feels familiar-ish, that maybe they changed it from a 2017 or 2018 to like a TBA or something like that.
Yeah, like that's like the most that they would do. And articles milk that too, where it's like there will be something that's like Breath of the Wild, right? Where they're
Mhm.
like, it's coming out initially 2014 or something ridiculous. And then it's like,
Yeah.
2015 in the reports or whatever. And then sometimes it'll just straight up go to TBD. And it's like, what? We
Mhm.
had a date. But
Yeah.
other than that, there's not really there's not usually things like this that happen. And
Yeah.
even then, like there was a time where like financial briefings would happen like a little bit after a Nintendo Direct, you know.
Mhm.
So we would know through that, and it would be on the briefing, but we already knew because they did a Nintendo Direct anyway, you know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That said, though, there are, I mean, we've got already what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 big games for that are announced for 2022.
Mhm.
8 if because also Mario plus Rabbids isn't on the one that I'm looking at here.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a bunch. I mean, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy, all caps for some reason, and still called Triangle Strategy. Kirby in the Forgotten Land, Advance War, Splatoon 3, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Temp, and Bayonetta 3, and Mario plus Rabbids. So cool. I mean, looks like a good year.
Yeah, next year looks crazy.
Yeah. All right. I mean, there's more things we can glean from this, but I think some of it will just come out in other topics. So let's talk about some of these other things. Nintendo's infrastructure is going to be the best infrastructure that's ever been.
Of all time,
Are you
dude.
kidding me?
It's crazy.
One of the things they talk about is their budget for different like areas of their business. And so in games, they have games expand games software frameworks, and they'll spend up to 100 billion yen, which is around $880 million. Non-game entertainment opportunities similar to the Mario movie. That's, I mean, yeah, I guess up to 50 billion yen, approximately $440 million. Like
Yeah,
that is a
which is
lot of
like,
money, but also not a lot of money for.
yeah, like what that's like if that could be broken down into like 2 movies and 2 shows, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if they do any shows, it could just be 2 movies.
Yeah, right.
And there's the rumors about the Donkey Kong movie, so that's one of them,
Mhm.
you know. Like,
Oh wait, somehow I missed that.
oh, you didn't put it in the news, yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been missing some things this
Mhm.
week,
Yep.
but okay, hang on. Donkey Kong movie. I'm gonna add that in. We'll just get back to it when we get back to it. But yeah, that is. I mean, they even put, for example, projects like Super Mario movie, partnerships like Lego and other interactive products.
True,
So like,
yeah. So like even that,
it's
it's like
spreading it even
how
more
much
thin.
money goes into that? Like how much do they pay for that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would have thought with Lego that kind of like Lego just does it, and
And
then
then
Nintendo gets some money.
like a licensing fee or something.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I guess they would have to have at least, if nothing else, at least people that are like the brand Bible people at Nintendo
Yeah,
that
I
they
mean,
get
it
paid to
seems
do
like
that.
something that they have, like, I don't know if it's like this specifically, but like something akin to like Nintendo SPD. You know how like
Mhm.
EPD has like development credits on a lot of like the third party, like they worked on
Right.
Marvel's Ultimate Alliance or whatever, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's because whenever they do like an exclusive project or whatever on like that's just for their platform, usually they'll
Mhm.
have EPD work on it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something along those lines. Like maybe even EPD, there's a skeleton team
Mhm.
working with Lego, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting. And then the last thing and the big one here to talk about, Nintendo accounts and infrastructure expand relationship with consumers up to 300 billion yen, which is approximately $2.64 million.
Billion.
Billion, sorry, it's
Mhm.
billion, which is more than expand. Okay, well, let's go back to the expand game software frameworks because the blurb here is Nintendo stated this is primarily money to organically expand its game development assets and creative culture. It doesn't rule out mergers and acquisitions, but clearly the hope is to grow internally as a priority above simply buying other studios and
This
companies.
is another thing that I'm seeing a
Yeah.
lot of people or like
Mhm.
outlets get so much mileage out of. They're like, this blurb says acquisition. So let's write a whole article about how they're
Uh-huh.
going to make acquisitions, even though it says very clearly we're not we're not making those.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
um
That's I do wonder. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I wonder if this is like them developing more games or
Mm-hmm.
them investing more money in the games that they're developing. Like Rob
Mm-hmm.
of Roller 2
Mm-hmm.
Review, he tweeted, he was like $900 billion for Metroid Prime 4. We got him. And I'm like, yo, 900 million more dollars. But
Yeah.
but no, like I wonder if this
Yeah.
is that of them like investing more money in the games that they were already developing,
Mm-hmm.
or if this is just like they're developing way more games. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
this like finally a version of like what we've been talking about, where it was like, I mean, the Switch is super successful and people want to play games on this platform, and you have all
Mm-hmm.
these IP. Why not, like
Yeah.
make good games for them in the year of our Lord 2020X?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. It's in. I mean, I guess I just don't know what their budgets in general are for things.
mhm.
So like my first instinct was that this isn't them even saying like this is money that we're going to invest in making games or whatever, but it's like that's its own thing, like a pre-existing thing. Like every game has a budget that's like associated with that, whatever kind of
Well,
thing. And that
this
this is like
sounds,
subsequent to that, or like this is,
yeah.
it's like instead of building the house, they're building a foundation, or like building an extra foundation next to the
Yeah.
house to build a new room on, or
Right, right,
something
right.
like
This
that.
is like an additional, like, this is
Mm-hmm.
more money. Like, they didn't say
Yeah,
how
right.
much they usually spend. So,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
but they're not saying what they're spending it on, though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're just saying, like,
True.
this is the stuff that's for games. Like, it could be engines, like, it
Mm-hmm.
could be
Yep.
DLC, it could be sequels to games, it could be new IP, it could
Mm-hmm.
be, like, establishing new studios or new teams, or buying, like, this
Mm-hmm.
could be buying another studio for level 5, I mean, not level 5, next level games.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuff like that,
Yeah.
um we don't know what
I don't know.
though. But either way, I mean, I think that it's obvious to say that this will either result in more games or better
Mm-hmm.
games,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
great.
It is indeed. Yeah, and then the big one of the day, it's that one that we said, Nintendo accounts and infrastructure. The blurb here, we'll see what this blurb says. This is a huge sum of money with an interesting goal, especially in light of criticisms around Nintendo's online and account offerings. The focus is maintaining and expanding the relationship with consumers with Nintendo accounts to offer better experiences and better services. Beyond just being focused on the move to digital, it'll apparently aim to build a uniquely Nintendo service infrastructure, while My Nintendo and its products will also be reviewed as a part of the investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This does not mean that they are going to magically make their online connectivity better. It means that they're going to invest more money in the service that we already have. It could potentially mean that they're going to invest more money in developing their games to work better online. It could definitely mean that. But that's not the same thing as this magical ISP that everybody thinks Nintendo Switch Online is. They're not going to flip a switch and the servers are going to run smoother or whatever, right? Like, that's not what this is. Like, if Switch on, the thing that people think, like the version of like this that would be real, is if the servers were always off, because that's the thing that like Switch Online does more often than not. Like, that's the contribution that's being made there, is that games have to ping that server and be like, all right, people that are on Switch Online, the service, do you have a network to play on? Yes. Cool. Switch Online is doing its job. But if it's not working and it's like being shut down all the time or hacked and blah blah blah, that's the sort of thing that like is the quote unquote infrastructure that they would need to invest in, that would be a Switch Online issue. But apart from that, it's like, hopefully this does mean that they're like their in-house developers will more consistently care more about online, because again, there's examples of even Nintendo developers that make great online games. There's just some that care less.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely, in anything that they're talking about that's not online specifically, it definitely sounds like that it's just like making the expansion pack better, and making the like
exactly.
and even broader than that is just like making their relationship better with people, by way of like, obviously subscribers are going to be your most regular people, I guess, is that probably what they're thinking. So like making sure that those people are, I mean, it's same with
I
us.
mean,
We're like,
I think it even goes
yeah.
beyond that though, because they also mentioned, I don't know if they mentioned it here, but they also mentioned stuff like investing in like brick and mortar stores, you know, like the Nintendo store and stuff like that. Like that is also their relationship with consumers, like making it easier for, maybe they do like a West Coast like Nintendo New York version, like a Nintendo LA store or whatever, right? Or do it in countries outside of just America and Japan. That's another part of that. Like, but $2.4 billion more dollars, like that's going to go to a lot of different things. And I think Switch Online is probably on the lower end of the amount of money that they're actually going to invest in, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, so the quotes from this other article here from them is, going forward, we will continue to improve and expand both Nintendo Switch Online and Nintendo Switch Online Plus Expansion Pack, striving to provide better services that satisfy customers. And I think it would be a false assumption to really latch on to continue to improve these and also continue to expand these as if it's just one or the other. Like, it obviously sounds like it's just both. And then the two definitely tie together for sure, where like, you know, if you're expanding it, you're improving it. And then again, I mean, I guess you could improve it without expanding it.
I think it's one and the same for them, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
totally.
how they look at how they improved the base Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah,
they just expanded it. Like that's what they did. They added more content to it. Like I highly doubt that they're going to like change it. It's not going to be reinvented or anything like that. Like they're just going to add more content. They're going to
Which is funny because based on the comments on my video from last week, some people definitely disagree that it ever got improved. I think hindsight's 2020 a little bit, and also it's kind of like what things matter to you versus other people. But like the number of comments that were like, "What are you talking about? It's missing. You can't do messaging. You can't do voice chat or whatever." And I'm like,
which was never ever a part of the service. Like that's a whole different thing. You're like, what are you talking about? The service that I want isn't the service that it is. It's like, nobody's claiming that. Like they improved their offering, what they are offering.
It's there. I mean, there's an analogy in my brain somewhere that hasn't like fully formed or whatever, but essentially, you know, like if you go to a store and they're like, here's a bundle of these 7 things together. And you're like, yeah, but I really want carrots as a part of that bundle. And they're like, we're an Electronics Express. And it's like, well, but if I could have carrots in it, then in that, I mean, I'm not saying like they're that different, but really it's like, it's very similar things.
I mean, it's like going to a restaurant. It's like going to a restaurant and then being like, we improved our ingredients. And they're like, but you still don't have sushi. And they're like, dude, we are a pizza restaurant. like,
yeah.
All right.
I mean, of course, you know, false equivalency of like those things, they are, you know, having messaging and having voice chat is like, it's a reasonable assumption for sure. But it's also, I think that being an expectation.
I think it's only a reasonable assumption is if they said that they were going to offer it. Like, especially since Nintendo has like the only thing that makes gamers have this attitude of like, well, the other guy does it is because that's the other guy's strategies, like respectively, that Microsoft is like, we're going to do what PlayStation does because that's what gamers want, and vice versa, right? But Nintendo has literally never done that. They have never done that. They're never looking at another company and being like, well, that company does that, so we're going to do that too. So like to be like, well, the other guy does it, so obviously I can expect you to, is like that is a false equivalency.
And calling, I think it's hurt us to call things industry standards to some degree, because like there are things that are industry standards,
but industry standards are a made up thing. It's a made up thing. It's like even in other industries, it's not like you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Nothing.
I mean, unless there's like a governing body that tells you to do something, in which case, 100%. But otherwise,
I think that those things are generally not called that. Like industry standard, like that term is usually like it's more of a guideline than anything. It's like, oh, I don't know what to edit on. It's like, well, most people edit on this. It's not saying, well, you're required to edit on whatever, right? Like. The industry standard, you know, for like film is creating stuff on a Mac. You know, like, oh, okay, so because you edit, you got to buy a Mac because that's the industry standard. That's whatever. If you look at a film studio, everybody's using a Mac. So if we want to talk about industry standards, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's all optional, and it always has been. Like,
and I mean, especially, I don't know. It's the comments again, going back to comments from my video of like people disagreeing still that the base Nintendo Switch Online is worth the $20 a year or whatever. Again, like, I mean, I said it a million times in the video, and most of the comments recognized that, like, I guess, but it is, you know, kind of like personal preference and stuff. The number of people that I heard say, like, man, honestly, just Tetris 99 justifies my $20 a year. You know, of course it's subjective, but like there is like,
and that's not even how you came at the video.
It's subjective or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's
like
just
how you came at the video is like, as objectively as we can get, which I like, this is worth it, you know, like there's worth in terms of like what the market has said that a thing is worth, which again, in this context, is the most objective that you can possibly get. And then there's like, yeah, diamonds are worth that much, but I don't really care about diamonds. You know, like that.
Yes, exactly.
Like that doesn't change how much diamonds are worth. They are still worth that much money, but you just don't care about them, and that's fine. You know, like,
of course. I mean, and it's funny because it's going back to the whole like, this is a $60 game with God of War versus Metroid Dread or whatever, and the irony is that God of War more often than not is not a $60 game anymore. You know, like that's just
like,
it's just
that's the that's the funniest part about it, because it's like, I mean, I don't know what the sales breakdown was at the point when they did slash their prices, but like probably is worth more money. In terms of like, because it definitely sold more. God of War definitely
for sure.
sold more,
absolutely,
than Metroid. But more often than not, that like that 1-to-1 is like not favorable for them. Like they would do the same thing with Animal Crossing, where it's like, look at Animal Crossing, and then look at The Last of Us 2 or whatever, right? Both $60 games, and it's like, you know, the Animal Crossing sold like 2 times what The Last of Us 2 did. You know, like it just.
The other thing too that I thought was funny, just in the comment, I mean, at this point we're just kind of talking about my video, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But the comments bringing up other subscription, like, so I mentioned, you know, Netflix, or I don't think I mentioned Game Pass, but probably there were a couple of comments that did, but mentioned all these other services that I was saying, like, I pay, you know, more money for those and blah, 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 whatever, make any comparison with those. And the comments saying, like, people suggesting that, like, well, yeah, but those things, where was I going with this? It made more sense in my head as, well, Game Pass, whatever, you know, explaining why Game Pass is worth so much more or whatever. And I'm like, yes, I'm not disagreeing. The Game Pass isn't like just absolutely great value, you know, like, and yet I'm the one who temporarily canceled my Game Pass because I just haven't played it very often, you know, like, but it still is, it's way better value. Like, I'm not disagreeing that any of those things, or even with the, like, you know, the PlayStation Plus, you get these free games and stuff with that. Like, that's not to me saying that sets the standard of the price. That's just saying that, like, those things are therefore, like, yeah, that's great deals. Like, go get those. That sounds cool. Like,
people look at these services or anything, as we talked about a little bit, as them setting a benchmark. Like, when they price something, they're placing a flag in the ground and being like, this is how much this costs. But that's not what they're doing. They're saying, pay us this much money and this is what you get for it. That's not them trying to, like, say, like, everybody in the industry, this is the value of $15. This is what you need to offer for $15 because this is what I offer for $15. All these companies are shooting their shot. They're saying it's $15. This is what it costs. And if people don't pay $15, either they lower the price or they add more. We'll see if it's actually not worth the $80 a year for the family plan or whatever. If people don't buy it, you know, like, that's when we'll actually see. But just being like, I don't want to spend that much, it's like, that's fine, then don't. But like, that's a different thing. Like, objectively, then it's not worth it. I'm
looking forward to coming back a year from now and seeing, like, I I would say I'd be happy to be wrong. I wouldn't be happy to be wrong. I would be happy to be right for everybody's benefit, that like, I'm pretty confident that by this time next year, the expansion pack is going to be like, feel like it'll have doubled in value at least, like that. Yeah, that there's going to be just significantly more stuff already on there within a year's time. I could be wrong about that. And I would be sad to be wrong about that, because at that point it's like, all right, is it worth my new $50 a year? Who's to say? But based on this, especially, in that they want to be doing this and improving this, like Nintendo's obviously cares about, or has business reasons to care about making this service better for everybody. And, also for themselves. Like if they don't, then they're going to lose people, because people are obviously being really critical of it.
That's the side that I'm always on, of like, genuinely, and I say this all the time, please don't buy it, please don't. Like if you actually feel that way, and it's the same thing with like Pokemon, where it's like, less so now, where I'll say this about Pokemon, because I do think Pokemon's worth it. Like in the 3DS days, I'm like, yo, stop buying these games, stop. Because if you stop buying these games and they don't sell well, they have to make them better, they have to. But like complaining about it and buying it anyway is not getting you anywhere. Also, it kind of like not only communicates to them that you're full of crap, it literally, you are just admitting that you're full of crap, being like, it's not worth this much money. Like you want it, you definitely want it because you spent the money and you're mad about the amount of money. Like it's definitely something that you want. If it's not, then you wouldn't, like if people acted the way towards what they claim they don't want, like NSO, right? They'll see that and be like, I don't want that, that's blah blah blah. Imagine if you had to do that with everything. Like if they had to scroll through the whole eShop and be like, I would never play freaking Diablo 3. I can't believe that game's worth $60. Like imagine scrolling through thousands upon thousands of hours of content and all this other stuff, but all these varying prices that you personally would not spend, and complaining about it. Like instead of just not buying it, like just don't buy it. There's so many games that I see all the time, and there will be games that like will probably make money, for me specifically, and still be like, it's not worth it for me. And do I make a big deal about it? No, I will not. I'm not tweeting like I'm not buying this game. Like the only time I'm mentioning that I'm not buying a game is if somebody specifically asks me. And even then, I'm not going to be like, that game's not worth $60 and blah, blah, blah. It's like, if it's not, then it won't be. And that's just the end of it.
Yeah, it's true. But in the meantime, I mean, Nintendo's they're doing all right, So that's good.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, and they're at over 92 million consoles sold. Close to 93 million units sold. So like we're passing the Wii by Christmas. Which is nuts.
For sure, definitely. I'm curious to see if they'll end up passing PS2. I think they could, honestly.
At 155 million?
Yes.
Lifetime. I think it totally depends on two factors to me. And it's one, how long is it on the market? And two, what hardware revisions do they count as a Switch or as a separate thing?
I think it's that, but mostly I think it's price. Mostly because that's what happened with PlayStation 2 was like PS3 was out for a minute and you could get a PlayStation 2 for like $80. And it's like, I'll buy that. Like if even Switch Lite ever gets to under $100 regularly, it's getting past 150. It's free. Like that is a no-brainer.
I mean, that's the point at which like I would consider
I'm buying a Switch Lite
for somebody else. No, because we were just talking yesterday, so we were hanging out with Mitch, and he and his fiance Catherine share a Switch and have Animal Crossing on it and their shared island and stuff. And Mitch was saying like, I've thought about getting her a Switch, but like, I just don't know if she would play it often enough for it to be worth it, blah, blah, blah. If it was cheaper by a significant amount, or if a Switch Lite was under $100, like easy, just, I'll just pick one up. Cause worth it. Yeah. So I think those things, I think really the only thing that would be the biggest hindrance would be if new hardware comes out that's considered something different and like legitimately
And it's not like
places
backwards
the need
compatible
for, yes,
yeah.
exactly, not backwards compatible, and like Switch stuff just stops. Like if for whatever reason the Switch becomes, practically speaking, like stopped dead in its tracks,
Yeah, like obsolete.
Then that. But otherwise, like it's got everything going for it. So yeah, we're doing all right. But more likely than not, I think, and you think too, I think, that whatever's coming next is still considered within the Switch family.
Yeah.
So, we've got at least a couple more years out of that, if nothing else.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna pass it.
Yeah. So, but they talked about different ways they're going to spend some of their money. And one of those things might be the Donkey Kong movie that I didn't know anything about at all until you said something earlier. Oh, Seth Rogen, Donkey Kong solo movie reportedly in development.
Yep. People are angry.
angry.
Which is weird because like I'm seeing so many people being like, hire real voice actors. And this is like so like flipped from like the goal that a lot of people have in like the inverse situation where it's like a live action Uncharted movie, right? They're like, yo, Nolan North is right there. Like he acts,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand being like even less than that, like in that situation. I don't understand being mad about them doing this because we haven't heard Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Like we don't know if it's good or not. Yep. So why are we angry?
I mean, also, why are we angry specifically at this one when like literally this is the way the film industry is? Like that's not a decision that's just like Nintendo's doing some mean thing. It's like, no, they're working with Illumination Studios. That's the thing that I watched a video recently that was explaining like, why is Chris Pratt and Mario? And it went back to like, it started with Robin Williams as the genie. He said, please don't like promote the movie as like Robin Williams is the genie. And then they did it anyway. And it sold super great. Everybody went to go see it. And since then, everything is just like, just people, getting famous actors to do stuff and going from there. So yeah. But yeah, what's the origin of this rumor?
I don't know. I saw the outrage. I didn't really look that much into it because I don't care. Like I don't care one way or the other because I don't know what he sounds like. So I can't be positive or negative about this.
I think he'll do great. I think Seth Rogen is a funny guy and a nice guy from the looks of it. And like,
but what about my artistic vision for Donkey Kong and how I view him as a character? And it will ruin my personal interpretation of Donkey Kong.
The funny thing is Ashley, when we first saw that it was Seth Rogen, she was like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then somebody did took him laughing and put it over Donkey, like or whatever, and put it over Donkey Kong laughing. And she was like, nope, that's perfect. Can't do anybody else now. And it really is like so good. So hopefully it'll, pan out. But yeah.
Yep.
Should be good.
We shall see.
Okay, let's see.
Who's playing Diddy Kong is my question.
That's the question indeed. He's got to be in Mario Party. That's what
I'm going to be so mad if they don't put him in Mario Party. Diddy Kong was my Mario Party main. How dare they?
Okay, so here's the context a little bit. During a Q&A with investors on Friday, Miyamoto was asked if Nintendo would look at some of its other IP for new films after Super Mario. As relayed by analyst David Gibson, who translated a speech from Japanese, Nintendo will indeed make more movies based on different IPs/characters. However, Nintendo is taking a measured approach to this and will go one by one, Gibson said. How did we get to specifically Donkey Kong?
Mario will return in the Super Smash Brothers movie. He will return.
Oh, it's
Donkey Kong will return in the Super Smash Brothers movie.
And then this says, as mentioned, Rogen voices Donkey Kong, and a report from Giant Freaking Robot, which is a website, I guess, said Nintendo is planning a standalone DK movie featuring Rogen. Pretty easy, thing to just say, but also not surprising at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that just makes sense. If you do Seth Rogen's like a big actor and stuff, but if you do one movie and you're doing a one by one approach, that's a pretty like just safe bet of a second one to do like a spinoff from the original. That's, and they've got Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong being in Mario stuff is a little sus. Like Donkey Kong isn't sus at all. Totally makes sense. Cranky Kong feels a little like
it's like I joked about it, but it's literally MCU stuff.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
literally
Exactly.
like, oh, this character is seated in here because it's an easy like spin-off point. Like it's an easy way to be like, oh, you remember that guy from that movie? He's in his own movie now. It's putting Iron Man on the Spider-Man cover. Like
yeah.
Except they didn't do that. I mean, they kind of did it.
Spider-Man.
They did it a little bit. They kind of did it because Donkey Kong was the actual beginning, like Mario came from Donkey Kong.
Alex said comic film for 2040. There you go. That's the one.
Yo, nah, I'm surprised. No, you know what they should have did? They should have did Luigi's Mansion next.
That's Oof, yeah. There you go. Charlie Day just scared out of his bones all day long. So yeah, that stuff. All right, a couple more news things. This one, it's not even a full news thing. It's just that, wouldn't you believe it? This is in Europe, so maybe there's an American. I don't know. Whatever. Nintendo reveals the top 15 most downloaded Switch games in October 2021 in Europe, and Metroid Dread is number 1, and Mario Party Superstars is right behind it, even though it had 3 whole days, which is like I
mean, Mario Party sells a lot.
It sells so much.
Isn't Super Mario Party Super Mario Party is at like 16 million now?
It's something insane. Let's find out.
Hold on. 16.48 million. That's crazy. No DLC. Well, actually, 1 free DLC,
which just lets you play it online, and that's it.
Honestly, most important DLC.
I mean, to be honest. So there you go. I am very curious about Metroid Dread sales numbers once Christmas has happened. Also, I mean, curious to see if it comes down off of the eShop charts, not all the way off, but like lower on the eShop charts before Game Awards and then goes up after Game Awards. I am still.
I wonder if they're going to discount it for the Game Awards.
I mean, it would be really smart to,
they usually do. Like if stuff's nominated, they usually discount it. But if it's
I think they at least do.
I don't think they discounted Smash when that was nominated.
I think they typically discount like prior year winners and stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully. So there you go. And the last thing is just Shin Megami Tensei 5 is reviewing well. So that's nice.
Nice. I saw people mad about that. About IG. Well, I don't know. It's probably multiple reviews. But I saw specifically IGN's review. People were so mad because they're like, they compared it to Persona. And it's like, of course they're going to compare it to Persona because that's the game that people care about. That's the one that sold freaking 2.5 million units or whatever, which is astronomical for a video game like that. Right. like no duh. Like people are dumb.
It is. I always do wonder. I looked up the Metacritic and stuff. I mean, it's like 87, so that's real good. But then I always wonder if like some of these lowest review ones, it seems like pretty contradictory from what I watched the Nintendo Life one. And then I just read the little blurb for this VG2471 one. And like, maybe these are the things they really think. I would assume so if they're being honest. But also I wonder sometimes if you're intentionally the lowest one on a really high reviewing thing, just to get
like we can get the clicks if we give it a 7. Everybody else is going to give it a 10. We can get so much hype for giving it a 3.
I mean, also very possibly like they might have a 5-star review scale.
I think it depends on the outlet. I think so most like gaming outlets wouldn't actually do that.
No, I don't. Yeah,
but I could see like the New Yorker. I can see the Guardian being like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it is always. It seems more often than not to be those kind of like
not gaming outlets, but they got the video game anyway.
Yeah, or there's just like some controversial, like Daily Star or whatever.
Yeah, yep.
Let's make this happen. So there you go. But that's it for the news. Good job, everybody, having news. And now to get into some comments from our videos.
It's true.
We'll start with the fun one, and then we'll go to the controversial one. So the fun one's first, and that's yours. Here we go. Any thoughts?
I talked about Super Smash Brothers as a series because I love it. It's a good game. It's a good series of games. Oh, we could have talked about that too.
Oh, and we also could have talked about Mario Party because I was thinking we were pulling comments for your Mario Party video.
I did not pull comments because that was from today. I don't know how many comments are on that. But we'll talk about Mario Party next week. because that video came out today. Go watch it if you
Indeed.
didn't see. Well, actually, yesterday, if you were listening to this now and you're not a YouTube member or Twitch subscriber and you have your Discord connected to those respective accounts. But yeah, no, Smash Brothers is the video that I pull comments from.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I talked about, but I was going to say we could have talked about the stuff that Sakurai said in his Famitsu stuff where he was like talking about the
I forgot about that. I saw that, but I didn't pull it. Yeah, basically he was saying like I only read the cliff notes, I feel like, but that he's
saying the same stuff that he always says, that he literally always says every time. So before
and
this
that it couldn't happen without him, pretty much, right?
Yeah, well, not that he doesn't really say that. Well, he does say that, but he's like, so the gist of it was that like I don't really want to make Smash, but like if I got to, I will, you know. And he doesn't really have to, but he feels like he has to, so he will, you know, like it was like with freaking Brawl. I think it was either I think it was either Brawl or Smash 4. Pretty sure it was Brawl when Iwata was like, I'm gonna announce Smash Brothers. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm announcing Smash Brothers. Right, like, and Sakura was like, all right, well, I guess I'm making Smash Brothers. But that sounds a lot less like that and a lot more like I'm making this game whether you want to be a part of it or not, but open invitation if you do. And it's more of that, and him being like, oh yeah, I'll make Smash. I don't know what we would do, and I don't know if we can get as many characters, but like we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And it's like, but duh, because like Smash Brothers is the best-selling fighting game of all time. There's no way that Nintendo would go from releasing a game in a very well-established franchise that has an easy enough framework to be like, okay, well, we can make another one of these if we change this, and that. That freaking sold 20 plus million units and not make another one. There's no way that's happening. It's not happening.
What exactly it is will be interesting to see.
Yeah, we'll see
for sure. But I mean, at least this one's good, you know, so that's pretty fun.
It's a good game.
First comment is from Benji890, said, this great video. Just seeing how far Smash has come, where it started, and seeing how individuals relate to the game is fun to learn about.
Yeah, it's a good game. I like it a lot. And I like playing it, and I like the community around it. And it's well, mostly, except for the people that are weird. But the people that are not weird are great.
Accurate. Chronically Cal said, awesome video. I personally haven't been able to get super into the game, but I'm thinking of picking up a physical copy next time it goes on sale or shows up used somewhere. Ultimate, whether it's the end or not, feels like such a part of gaming history. The small collector's part of me wants to own it beyond my offloaded digital copy.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part in gaming history. I don't think there's any world where the next game will have as many characters. I think it's kind of capped that it'll have like a little bit of characters or whatever. Like it's going to have like, I would be surprised if the next Smash Brothers game has less than 60 characters. Like I wouldn't even be surprised if they just brought over everybody, but
at least all the first party ones, it seems like at this
point.
I
think that they might cut some of the first party ones.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a tactic in any case. Cut some people so that you can bring them back later, and it's exciting again, you know.
Also, like some people would just get cut because relevance, you know, like it's like, why do we put Pichu in this game? You know, do we need Dr. Mario?
Yeah, I mean, does anybody really play as Pokemon Trainer anymore? You know, that's
obviously not. Clearly not.
Whimsicott said
with another Pokemon Trainer though.
Yeah, there you go. It works. Whimsicott said, man, Super Smash Bros. 64 was my first game ever, and now I'm finishing school. Thinking about college, and Ultimate means a lot to me, especially now that my number one pick and character from one of my favorite franchise series has now entered, Sora. Also, and I got to tell, I didn't think its moveset would click with me, but it did. Heck, more than that, it was a long time since I played so much Smash, and especially in a time like this for me. But that's how much Sora means to me now in Smash. But I guess it was my mistake thinking I wouldn't like it because they transported the fighting style from the original series so gracefully. But even without Sora's, Ultimate was a really big accomplishment for gaming and one that represents this generation. And your video really reminds me why that's the case. So thank you Smash players, thank you Sakurai and Smash team. It was a long road, but I'm happy to have taken it.
I'm
But one I'm
glad
happy to have taken.
you enjoyed the video, and I'm happy that Sora does that for you, because seriously, I think that is huge for like if you're like even a little bit competitive and you like Smash, once there's a character that like you care about and they click with you on any level, I think it's kind of different for me, because like now I think Pokemon Trainer made it different for me, where like I learned how to play the game because well, competitively, I always knew how to play the game. I was already like I was usually better than most people that I usually played with. But this game made me like get better on a competitive level to compete with people that play this game professionally. And that happened because I cared about the character. But once I got better at that, I was able to then it didn't matter as much if I was already on a base level okay with the character. I think that that's an important thing to have when you're not already in like I'm in now, because if the character's play style doesn't click with you, you're not going to care enough to like adapt how you naturally want to play to fit with their moveset. So it's good that Sora clicks with you in that way. And if there's like any other character that you even care about a little bit now, like the better you'll get, the easier it will be to learn that character too.
I mean, it's kind of like I find, so I play a bunch of different instruments, and definitely learning whatever your first instrument is. I mean, depending on the instrument, it could change, but the first instrument you learn is like a way easier gateway into the next one, unless like you learn drums first and then like some aspects of guitar easier like from that, but like tonality is a whole different thing. So you know, whatever. But like my first instrument was
piano's
flute,
a strat. Piano's a strat.
Honestly, piano like is for sure the best way to just get the most broad knowledge to be able to then kind of use for different things. Like I'm teaching guitar lessons to a guy right now, and I'm still referencing like music theory in piano language to some degree, even though I'm definitely not like piano is probably like fifth down on my instruments list. So it's just funny stuff. But yeah, similarly Smash, you know, same way, where like I love playing as young Link. So then Greninja's pretty fun, and like some other characters kind of just like translate over decently well, but then learning what's different with those ones and then translating that to other characters like kind of tangentially is
because like it becomes eventually becomes like a like goal oriented. It's like, okay, the character that I know how to play has these tools, and that lets me do X, Y, and Z. How do those things and those scenarios and those kill conditions and stuff like that translate to the other character that I want to play? It's kind of like how Bob right now, right? He's not good enough at the video game overall to be able to like translate like, oh, okay, I killed them in this way. So I can translate that to a different character. So like all his characters play similarly. It's like he plays Captain Falcon, Ganondorf, and Roy, and then sometimes he'll play Byleth, but not as much. And it's because for the most part they have the same like tools. Like he wants an up B that goes at an angle that he can somewhat like move like horizontally, but it's a vertical thing. Preferably it's a command grab, because then he can do the like, it doesn't matter if somebody's shielding, the only way they can avoid it is if they spot dodge or if they run far enough out of the way, you know. So like when he comes into the match, he has a similar game plan because he has a character with similar tools. Whereas there's like me, where it's like I use Pokemon Trainer, who within that one character have pretty different play styles. Like Ivysaur's up B is nothing like Squirtle's, you know, and then Min, which is nothing like those three characters, you know, and then eventually Sora and all other stuff. So it's like once you get to that point of like, okay, well, I understand what neutral is, and I understand what edge guarding is, and ledge trapping and all that stuff, you're able to be like, okay, well, what does this character's hitboxes look like, and how do I ledge trap with that, or edge guard or whatever, you know.
It's true.
Game's cool.
How did the locals go, by the way?
Not great. When I went in New York, it was terrible, because my controller that I brought the controller that I had already in my bag the last time that I went to New York, and it's broken. So that wasn't great. I freaking like each time I brought it to last hit, last stock, and I died because of my controller. Like I went to go down air somebody with Ivysaur, and instead of getting the A button, my trigger is stuck. Like that's the one that Bob took apart and like fixed because the trigger was messed up. But still messed up. And the trigger went off, and I air dodged and died both times. It was terrible. But next time I will bring the controller that I use all the time. I didn't want to bring it though. I need to just bring. I have another extra controller, but I don't know if I want to put it in. I need to get a case and then put that in my bag and then just leave that in there. But that's what I'll do.
Makes sense. A last comment on this one. Cool said, "Great story, AJ. That's what's beautiful about Smash. It brings fans from all around the gaming scene together. Can't wait to see what crazy additions they have in future Smash games. Even people who don't play Smash started caring about character reveals and speculation because it literally could have been anyone."
Yeah.
Well said.
Yep. And like I still resent that whole thing of people being like, I'm so glad that the reveals are over because it's stealing shine. And it's like, no, the thing that is getting announced just wasn't interesting enough. Like, because Breath of the Wild, the sequel to Breath of the Wild or whatever, was not getting shine taken away from freaking Byleth or whatever, you know, like
I think Banjo. Yeah. No, that was still definitely the biggest thing.
Yeah. Like,
all the Banjo was
if
big.
the announcement's a big deal, it will be a bigger deal than a single character in a video game that you don't care about, if you don't care about it, you know. But if it's not, then it won't be. Like, get better announcements.
That's true. Yeah, there it is. Good video. It's fun time. Smash is fun. And I don't know, that's it. Smash is fun.
True. Speaking of that, there's freaking a tournament this week that's going to be hype because it's the Northeast Smash World Tour. And Tweak's probably going to win.
Are you just watching it, or is it a tournament that you can enter in any way?
I can't. You got to qualify for the Smash World Tour. It's a circuit. So yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Nice.
And watch Tweak win, I guess.
Love to see it. Well, cool. Then I made a video last week, and then now-ish, or maybe later than now, for if you're watching this once it's up on YouTube or listening to it. I think video for today is going up around this time or a little bit later, something like that. So
yeah, probably like an hour before or after. Well, probably not before, probably an hour or two after.
Nice.
Like 11 or 12 Eastern.
Which, that said, by the time you're this far into this podcast,
it's probably up. Yeah,
it's up now. So that's it. Oh, sorry, good stretch. So made a video talking about Nintendo Switch Online. It's funny. There's comments that are like, "Well, this aged poorly," and I'm like, actually,
it came out
kind of. Yeah. Well, so it was specifically about, because I put the video out on Tuesday, like a day or two before the service came out or something like that, or maybe the day that it came out, something along those lines. But then everything with like the fog and whatever, all that kind of stuff happened, which, to be perfectly honest, in the way that I was thinking about the video, at least, and like the points that I made, didn't change anything as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, this is definitely going to be the kind of topic that, as you're listening to,
they looked at they looked at the title and they said that it didn't age poorly because the content of the video. It aged poorly because of the video that they made up in their head.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, this whole conversation, feel free to skip this if you want. It's going to be somewhat polarizing because AJ and I still feel the same way that AJ and I have been feeling about this. And we're just going to explain reasons why. The first two comments that I pulled, just a stark contrast of, holy Switch, what a shill.
He didn't say Switch. I guarantee he didn't.
No, he didn't. I switched that out. And then the next one, smartest video they have ever made. Which is just the contrast. Yeah. So like we were talking about, I think before recording started, just that like people in watching this video were coming into it
with their own established opinion.
Yes.
That they were going to express regardless of what you said.
Yeah. I mean, there was a decent amount of middle ground, I guess. So I will say that, of people that are like, well, here's how I feel differently about it. But like you said, it is just kind of, subjective, what things are worth and all that. But here's the reasons it's not worth it to me. And that, like, totally. Like that was, that's the best kind of discourse there can be. I think I pulled at least one or two like that. But
Discourse.
and there were also people that were just plain old mad. So
Yep.
I don't know. Here's just a bunch of comments that I pulled, and I responded to a whole bunch of them towards the beginning, and then had other things that I had to do, and so haven't responded to too many since then. First up, Evan Kale said, I think my main problem with the price is that it's recurring. If I have to pay yearly for a DLC, I think it's a bit much. Nintendo hasn't really said if you have to keep paying for the DLC or if you'll lose access to it if you cancel it. I don't really think you should have to keep paying to use a DLC. That's just my take on it, which is reasonable. Mm-hmm. My take on that is that I think, practically speaking, you'll definitely have to keep paying for it. But I think what it is that more things will be added to the service, so that at least the way that I'm viewing it, like value wise, is like, is the new stuff for this 12 months or worth a new $50 kind of a thing, / like also the benefit of being able to play the stuff you've already,
right.
continue
and
to
also I think that like a lot of the stuff that and I don't know if this is what Evan is specifically getting at, but a lot of people are like, I'm probably not even going to be playing the DLC a year from now. And it's like, yeah, good. Then stop paying for it. Like,
right. Exactly.
Your reason for paying for it, it's gone. Because it's like, it's recurring, but it's not, like you're not locked in. You can cancel it at any time. You could have subscribed right now and immediately turned off the auto pay. Like,
I think I wrote a tweet chain, I think, about this kind of a thing of like, and really it's $30. It's not $50 because the $20, it's $30 additional dollars. And again, if you're in a family plan, it's even different from that. But is what's on offer worth my $30 for this next 12 months? And then, just cancel it after that, or reevaluate every year based on that, because like that's, truly, otherwise, that's just not worth paying for it at that point. Luckily for the Animal Crossing thing, if this was part of the question, Evan, that the things, I think we figured this out like on the podcast the last time, but the things that you get for your main island out of the DLC, you get to keep, but you just won't get to do the DLC
content.
Stuff.
You can't fly to the island and get more stuff from that DLC. You can't like do more vacation homes or get new chocolate, like that sort of stuff. But all the other stuff that you already accrued, they're not going to take any items that you bought from that island or stuff like that. It's like you just can't access that content specifically. You can't go to that island. But everything else you still have.
So I mean, good question, and honestly, good take. Makes sense. But I think I would also, I think it is hard because it's a recurring thing that so many people are thinking of this as like, here's the like first snapshot of a years long service that we know of. And it's just this first snapshot. And then picturing ad infinitum, like $50 a year for years and years and years. And like, is this worth that? But like, if they just put up on the eShop, I mean, I know it'd be different, but I mean, or like, equivalent to Cloud Game or something like that. But if it was just on the eShop of like a year's access to these N64, these, 15 N64 games, assuming the 6 ones that also, more than that, 18, I don't know, whatever. The N64 games, Sega Genesis games, and Animal Crossing DLC. Here's, $30 just for that for a year. Like, I feel like the conversation would be super different. It'd be like, man, I'd love to pay for that for a year.
But it has this branding that's already associated with what people say is not good enough. To be paying money for at all.
Yes. No, so it's hard. I think it's so much of this stuff. It's like things that are almost like too broad for us to be able to like easily conceptualize, myself included, like everybody included, I feel like is like, it's kind of like when you try to picture 1,000 somethings, like that's just too many things to like really wrap your mind around. Like I can think of $1,000, like the concept of that, but like $1,000 bills, like I don't have,
I can't immediately think, is this tall?
It's
like, right. Is this many stacks of this many dollars?
It's just, it's kind of,
it would fit on this table.
Oh, it would not fit. Yeah.
I was giving a
yes,
general
I
idea
know.
of
And
a
I was trying to
table
make a
that's
joke
X
of it.
size.
And then I was like, this isn't even a funny joke.
You're
So
not
I took
even,
it back.
You're not even a table, it's a desk, you idiot.
This isn't even a table, AJ. This is Animal Crossing furniture. It's imaginary. All right, next up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Here we go. Next one is Nitwim.
Before we go to the next thing,
Okay,
the thing about this is like a lot of this stuff I agree with whatever people are like. I think that like it's not worth blah 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 and all that other stuff. No, it's like, yeah, I agree. It's not. Don't then. Like that's the end of it for me, where it's like it's not worth it. Don't pay for it. Great. If it's not worth it to you.
Yes, exactly.
But honestly, I pay for it because I know that they're going to add more to it, and I know that I'm going to play the DLC anyway. So,
and that is the thing. I think it's like whether or not you believe that more will get added to it, or that it'll be improved, or that kind of thing. I think that's really the question. I mean, also for me, it's
and you don't even have to. You don't even have to do that because nobody's asking you or making you to like buy it on the promise that it'll get better.
Right.
It's just we're saying like we know we're going to buy it anyway. We know we want to play the DLC.
Yeah.
Us specifically have family plans and other people that also want to play the DLC and stuff like that.
This
so
is
like
way cheaper than even two people getting it.
Yeah, exactly. So like for us, it would cost us more money to wait than it would to just buy it now. But for people that don't want to play Animal Crossing specifically and don't care about the other stuff on there, it makes sense to wait. Just wait.
Yep. Nitwim said, as always, I appreciate your more positive take on these issues. I do think the pricing makes sense from a zoomed out business perspective, but I have zero interest in old games and would rather just buy the Animal Crossing DLC outright than versus the weird ambiguity of possibly losing access to it if I cancel my subscription plan. To be honest, I hope that's something that they clarify or fix, because the fact that it's even a question we have to ask leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Like we said, they are pretty clear about like what you lose and what you don't have anymore. It's just like they should have showed it in the like presentation, like video wise, like this is what it looks like if you try to go to the thing, but they did mention that. So yeah, but again, don't buy it.
I think it's also the kind of thing where I understand it leaving a bad taste in your mouth. Also, probably not something that they want to like lead with on the front end of PR of things, when it's like, here's something that might happen to you in a year. It's obviously that does inform your decision now, theoretically, I mean, especially for you, it sounds like it does, but that like thinking from a PR perspective, putting out a video of like a troubleshooting what would happen if you lost the subscription and whatever, like it just feels like tonally hard to juggle with the other, like, look at this new stuff we're coming out with, but if you lose it, like, nevertheless, I think it is something that like luckily it's fairly clear now, but hopefully they'll clarify it even better down the road. Honestly, probably the best way to find out is because this at least the N64 stuff and SNES games and all that stuff, check if you've been online in the past 7 days. Now that it's out,
true.
Somebody
just, like
go offline for 7 days and then see what stuff it lets you access.
I can't do it right now, but
but like at this point,
I could do it on my other Switch, but obviously not right now. But I can.
That's true. Did you move everything over to your OLED Switch, including Animal Crossing?
Not everything, but I did move Animal Crossing. Yes.
Look at that. Was that a pain at all, or pretty smooth?
Slightly. It didn't really take as long as I thought it would. I thought I was going to have to re-download it. I mean, which I did. Well, actually, I started the process to re-download it, but I didn't. I don't have an SD card in my old Switch anymore, and it's too big. So I couldn't install Animal Crossing. So I was like, oh crap. Well, and it's like, oh wait, you just got to install the tool. And I was like, all right, nice. So that was pretty seamless, and it didn't even take long to like actually do the transfer once I realized that. So it's pretty painless situation. As long as like the most painful part about it is if you don't know how to do it. But once you know how to do it, it's pretty seamless.
I actually haven't set up the backup on my islands yet.
I did that on stream.
So there it is. Comments. This one's the long one. I pulled this a very long one and then a sort of long one. So this one's from Saul MS, who says, sorry for any mistakes. I'm not a native English speaker. Trev just said scheduled tweet question mark. We tweet something out that I wonder. Or Trev, what are you talking about? Explain yourself.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. Maybe we should schedule a tweet. Who's to say?
Schedule a tweet for what? I don't even remember what he's talking about. The Animal Crossing thing?
I guess. Trev, you'll have to let us know. All right, here's the question or the comment. So they said maybe Twitter's tripping. I just got an alert that fanatixfour. I didn't get an alert that fanatixfour tweeted, and I've got my alerts turned on. So
I do not. So
I don't know.
Maybe you got your alert late.
Maybe fanatixfour sent you a special DM or something like that. And that's
last tweet from fanatixfour was 6 hours ago.
Okay, a few things they say.
I might have retweeted it. I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I retweeted it recently, but I think I retweeted my tweet.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is not relevant to the show.
Moving on. So, okay, a few things. Number one, the online service that is playing online games with people, it's bad. It's not about some games working better than others. It's about paying for an online service that does not provide dedicated servers. I already pay for my internet connection, so why should I pay Nintendo for offering nothing? Because the NES and SNES games, what if I don't care about them and I just want to play Smash Online? So no, it's not a matter of some games running well and others running poorly. It is a bad service.
It literally is about that because that's how it works. Like it's not possible.
Yeah.
We got to go through these one by one.
Yes, exactly.
We're not going to be able to. Yeah.
No,
because
totally.
it's not possible for them to blanket make all games online good because that takes development for the specific game. They cannot have a service that adds code to each individual video game that makes their online run smoothly. That's not how game development works. It's not, period.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the other thing of this, I guess nothing of this was technically saying this, but it was kind of implied that like, what am I paying for? Nothing because of the NES and SNES games.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what you're paying for. You're paying for what's being advertised. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't work like that, where it's like, go again, let's bring it back to food. You don't get to go to a pizza restaurant and be like, I ordered a pepperoni pizza and sure, but all I wanted was the pepperoni. So give me the money back for the pizza. Like, exactly. You bought the pepperoni pizza. They don't care if all you wanted was to pick the pepperonis off. Like, what?
Yeah. So, I mean, exactly that, and for some people, again, myself pretty specifically, that is what I'm paying for, is the NES and SNES games, like also
which is the pizza part, not the pepperoni.
Yeah, exactly. I'm paying for the pizza. You
pick all the pepperonis off.
I eat a pepperoni when I go to Ashley's Animal Crossing Island, like, or when you come to mine. Like I ate a pepperoni last night. When you
one pepperoni a year.
It's a nice pepperoni's a nice. What's the thing? Salami can be a nice treat for a cat. Have you? It's a whole thing. Ashley quotes it all the time. So yeah, I think that is just kind of not true. But yeah, I think to go bigger picture of this, like the point of the part that I was talking about with the NES online base thing is that, like, again, could be not subjectively worth it at all. Like, you don't like the online service portion of it, or you don't play games online and you don't like the NES, or you don't care about NES and SNES games. I mean, there's an element of like, I like the safety of like, oh, if I wanted to play an SNES game, it's just right there. Similarly, there's the safety of like, if I want to play an SNES game,
we're getting to the NES and the SNES stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
So that's why I just kept it to online.
I'll just finish the sentence then, that like, you could also go download, like, the service is always there to be downloaded. It's kind of like Game Pass, where like right now there's the comfort of knowing the Game Pass is there for me to play the game if I want. It's an extra step for sure. But like, there's still the comfort of knowing that it's there. So similarly with these things, like I don't necessarily have to have subscribed for that to be the case. But moving on. Number 2, renting NES and SNES games when we could buy them in Wii U. And let's be also, when I'm saying words, they are capitalized. So I try to always be very faithful and sometimes give the benefit of the doubt to comments of like tone and stuff to make them seem as nice as possible.
Yep.
But when there's like caps lock words, I'm going to make it obvious. So continue on. So when we could buy them in Wii U, and let's be 100% honest, a gosh darn toaster can run. Gosh darn toaster can run those games on any emulator. Yeah, it is a bad service. If they were actually a good service, tell me if you honestly think that millions of people would pay for the NSO if they could actually play online without paying this $20 a year subscription. Would not only give you the NES and SNES games, ? The answer for most people is obviously no. They would not pay. Hang on. I'm confused.
I know what he's.
I think I know it. I'll finish the thing and then we'll recap.
Yeah, I know what he's saying. He's wrong.
Would only give the NES and SNES games. The answer for most people is obviously no. They would not pay $20 a year to rent SNES and NES games that are available everywhere and can be played in an emulator. Okay. Well, here we are. At least the mini NES and mini SNES are things that you can actually buy and can put on a shelf as a decoration. They are tangible things that you own. Okay, so, I see where we're coming from now.
So the virtual console, the Wii U thing.
Yeah.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but even on Wii U, you don't own any of it. You don't own a single game that's on the virtual console, not one. It's still a digital license. It's like in perpetuity, to be fair. But if they wanted to, if they woke up tomorrow like, we don't want people playing virtual console games, they could rescind the license. They could. And they could do it in a way that you'll never know. Like, I know a lot of people are like, well, I could just make sure I'm not plugged into the internet, blah, blah. But like, unless you're already not plugged into the internet, it's too late for you. So that part of that is not true. Second part of that, $20 a year to rent hundreds of games. People pay $20 a month to rent movies, like that they never watch, So yeah, I think that a lot of people would spend $20 a year to rent SNES and NES games because people spent hundreds of dollars for the security of their mind to know that they quote unquote own the NES games and the SNES games on the Wii U. Like just like this service, people literally bought virtual console games, played them for a week, a month if we're generous, and then never touched them again. That's what they're doing here. They're paying for the ability to do that and feel better about it because every once in a while they get a new game for the $20 a year that they spent, rather than spending that $20 one time for 5 games, being generous, and only playing those 5 games one time.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'd rather play 100 games one time for $20 a year than 5 games one time.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. It's the kind of, again, we could do the breakdown and it's not going to work in the favor of the virtual console.
It never does.
Yeah. But similarly, same kind of thing, again, it's Netflix, it's Hulu, it's all that kind of stuff. Disney Plus, same concept is like, you're paying for like, okay, if I just have a hankering to do it, then I can. And that's, that's all well and good. I think emulators in general have like soured these conversations so much because it makes us feel a certain whatever, great that they're there for somebody or something like that, but it gives a certain feeling of entitlement that is wrong, like that, like you can play these anywhere. It's like, yeah, I could pirate this movie, however, why would I go to the movie theater to watch it? That's so much, they're whatever, and it's like just because you can do something, again, technically illegally, just because you can do something illegally,
not even technically, just straight up illegally.
Yeah,
yes, the only technical side of it is like, technically I can have the emulator,
right? Yeah,
I can't play it, but technically it's legal to have it if I own the game, like that sort of thing. Which even that is not in their favor, but
So yeah, it's anytime you can get things in a way that you feel like is for free, definitely makes the things that you pay for feel more expensive, I guess. I don't know, but it's in pretty bad faith, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, that's a
I
tricky
could
thing.
just
All right.
steal this if I wanted.
Yes.
And even if you don't have to steal it, it's like walking into Burger King and being like, I can make this burger at home. And it's like, okay, make the burger at home then. Why are you telling me that? Like, if you're going to emulate the game and you don't want to spend $20 a year or whatever to play NES games, do that. But they're not going to change their price because you want to do that. You know, like that
Nintendo,
doesn't
for all intents
lower
and
the
purposes,
value of the thing because you can steal from them. Like,
they're living in a world where emulation doesn't exist. I mean, not literal emulation, but like, you know, piracy emulation doesn't exist. Obviously it does, but like, as far as they're thinking of prices and stuff,
with the assumption that like that's not in their equation. They're not going to lower the price because they're like, people could steal from us, so we should lower the price.
And for the majority of Nintendo's customers, it doesn't exist. Like that's, you know, I mean, obviously we're in a circle where everybody knows about emulation and it's very like easy and common, like, you know, setting it up is just like, yeah, I can just set up an emulator or something. But for so many people,
that's the thing about it.
They don't know.
That's the thing about it. Even the people in our circle cannot emulate to the level that most of the emulation that's on Switch Online. There's the hiccups with N64 games or some of them or whatever, which also is the case for most people when they're playing N64 games on their freaking $3,000 PCs, not their $200 tablet or $300 tablet or $350 tablet, depending on which console you have. Like it's just this whole thing that like these straw man arguments fall apart the second you put a little bit of thought to it, right? Where it's like, oh, well, I can easily emulate on the PC that I have. And it's like, yeah, and how much did that PC cost you? You think everybody's doing that? Yeah. How long did it take you to get that emulator to work? How long did you have to troubleshoot them settings? You know, like how many drivers did you have to download and delete? And, you know, like how often do you got to update Dolphin? You know, like it's like bad faith arguments.
Yeah, it's true. Number 3 of the points.
Yeah.
The expansion pack is extremely overpriced and they knew it. They knew no one would get the expansion. And they knew no one would get the expansion pack for $50 a year. And not everyone can get that many people willing to pay for that expansion. So they had to add the Animal Crossing DLC. We're coming back to this because it is a way better deal to pay that and having access to the DLC than to pay for the online and then the DLC. But still, once a year or 2 will pass, but why would we still pay $50? What new content will they bring? We don't know. We just know some games will eventually come to the expansion pass, and offering a promise is not offering a product. You don't know what you'll get, when will you get it, and for how long this service will be available. Nintendo had the virtual console on Wii U, so who could tell if the next generation won't have this online service and you'll need to pay again for some other service?
Because the virtual console is not a service.
Right.
The virtual console is not a subscription. Also, his argument is that the only reason why people are paying $50 for this $50 product is because of part of the $50 proposition.
Right.
The only reason why people are paying $1 for the $1 ice cream cone is because the ice cream is on the cone.
I'm guessing where people are coming to this conclusion is because the first thing that we saw for the expansion pack was just N64 and Sega Genesis games. So therefore, that was the first thing Nintendo wanted to add to it. And then when we found out about Animal Crossing DLC, that was Nintendo deciding last minute to add that.
Shoot, we got to put Animal Crossing on there so people will pay for this.
When
they said from the get-go that they were announcing more parts to the DLC, but I mean to the expansion. But
and again, this is the kind of thing where like a year from now, I think it'll be that much more obvious what the vision of the thing is.
But people would be like that. Like they do this, they do that. Like you said, like they
moving the goalposts.
For them, like the Switch Online, like Nintendo Switch Online is still the NES. It's just paying $20 a year for NES games and cloud saves because I want to play online with my friends. That's the whole thing of Nintendo Switch Online. It doesn't matter what the actual offering is. That's what they see. They see red and they're like, I want this one specific, which I think, like, the thing about it is, like, I guarantee you the bulk of people that are paying Switch Online don't actively play games online.
Yeah. It's got to be.
And like, I can tell you that as somebody that plays Smash Brothers, one of their biggest online games, their third biggest online game, and like 5 million people, according to the thing, and it's probably even less than that, actively play Smash Online. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, the math's not working out here. If you're saying most people are buying Switch Online just to play online games, but they're not even playing online games, I don't know. I don't tell you.
Yeah. The other thing, oh no, never mind. I was gonna say the other thing with like the family plan is that, like, I wonder if it definitely counts as, like, if I have 6 people on my family plan, it's counting 6 people. So that's, definitely a thing. But even then, it's that much better of a deal and all that stuff. I think the thing with this is just, again, it's like, how are we thinking about, because there's facts here. Like, there's things that are what they are, like that there's these N64 games, and that there's these Genesis games, and that there's Animal Crossing DLC, and there's a price. Those are literally the only 4 factors that we know. But the way you spin the narrative around that completely changes everything about those things. And that's, what's happening. And like,
if
obviously,
Nintendo Switch Online wasn't called Nintendo Switch Online, the narrative would be entirely different. Like, people would still be mad about it. But their arguments would be different, because they couldn't say, like, oh, it's called Switch Online and the online is bad. Like, if they called it Nintendo Classic Games Collection, like then they couldn't, like, they would still probably try to be like, the online sucks and I don't want to pay for that. But it's the inverse argument of, like, I don't care about the games that they're offering. That is like the main draw for most people. But again,
I read ahead into the comments. I read this comment when the video first came up, but then I'm back at it now. I read ahead, and I'm excited about one of these things. Not this next. I mean, this next one is going to be what it is as well, but it's a paragraph after this that we get to. So number 4, about paying for this game and consoles separately or paying for the NSO expansion pack. I consider this an extremely unfair comparison, and I knew people were going to, and that's fine. But that's whatever. We're getting to it. Again, you don't own anything you pay on the NSO. You rent it. Second, almost nobody's going to actually play or pay for all of that content. I definitely don't care about Genesis. I don't care about Animal Crossing. And they added so little of the games of the N64 that it's obvious to me, again, caps locks words, that they want
He
to
didn't say to
leak.
me. He didn't say to me. You gave him too much.
Oh, you're right.
There.
Yes. And it is.
It is universally obvious to the whole entire world. No, he didn't say
no.
He said that it is obvious.
Yes, that they want to leak them little by little. Man, that's the benefit of the doubt. That they want to leak them little by little because because is what a lot of people actually want to play. Also, no, I'm sorry, but we should not discard the emulation as a real alternative. Let's be honest. If I can play 20-year-old games on an emulator, having the whole N64 catalog at once and access the mod community that brings new life to those games, why in the name of God would I ever pay $50 for 9 N64 games? Heck, why would I pay $10 a year waiting for games that already exist and are easily available? Here's the question, dude.
Why would
you pay any money for any single thing?
Why would I spend any money on anything I can easily steal? Why would I buy a house? I can just break into yours and live there.
I mean, it's the whole you wouldn't download a car thing, but still, it's, oh man,
it's a bad argument. Like, if you're going to do that, do it. Please do it. I don't care. I couldn't care less. But the argument is wrong. Like, it's and I don't mean like morally. I mean like objectively, like, you're incorrect. You're not right. Because this thing has a price. And if you were tried for it, like, if they cared enough to sue you, you wouldn't have a house. Like,
I mean, I'll posit to you my godson Asher, an 8-year-old kid, and Nintendo's thinking, all right, let's sell a service that his family will want to get so that they can all play N64 games together. maybe let's put it out on PC and have people download emulators. And this kid, you know, like, and then
I bought my car on the internet. I did download a car.
You got it, Alec. You win. All right, show's over. Oh man, but yeah, I'm not gonna get over that. So thinking of Asher and then thinking emulation as just a thing, like when Nintendo is thinking their market, they're thinking everybody, they're thinking, you know, like whatever. And so, I mean, in some ways, this isn't like a great argument or something, but if Nintendo were to price their stuff super low, I could almost see somebody being like, why is this stuff priced super low? And it's like, oh, because emulation. I could just emulate it and then steal it. And then at that point, like, you're just back to square one of like,
why would I spend this little bit of money?
Yes.
Like that.
Why would you spend $7 when you can?
Exactly.
like
I'll just take
people
it.
People were emulating stuff when it was on the Virtual Console too. You know, that didn't stop. This honestly, like, when thinking about music piracy and stuff, like back in high school, I pirated music all the time, and that was just what I did because, you know, I didn't have any money, and I was like, oh, it's fine because blah blah blah. And then I realized I shouldn't do that, so then I stopped doing it, and I didn't get to listen to as much music. And then Spotify came out, and Spotify has been great because now I can legally listen to all the
but you don't own any of the music though. You don't own none of the music. You can't hold the music in your hand and kiss it.
Kiss it. Yeah, I was just gonna grab a guitar and kiss it, but I just
take that. No.
Take that, rewind it back.
No, you can't rewind it back because you don't own the music. Dude.
No, that's true.
You can't rewind.
But you can't in the Sega Genesis games. Just do it. You know,
true,
rewind it back all the way.
You can rewind Sega Genesis.
So all that stuff, you know, I mean, I think again, if we're coming at this service emulation first, then all of it's dumb. Like there's no reason to do anything with anything. So like, you know, and then so to close up this, here's the bit that I read that I was excited about reading. Nintendo can't just stand there and say, but emulation is bad, caps lock, because first, it's the only thing keeping this old games alive and working on the preservation of this important art. And second, it is Nintendo's responsibility to provide a better service.
Is it?
Okay. As Gabe Newell said, the easiest way to stop piracy is not by putting anti-piracy technology to work. It's by giving people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates. And that's the honest to God truth. Steam helped so many people jump into the indie scene with this philosophy, and it's still proving that the way to solve piracy is to offer a good service. Time out here. How can you offer a better service than free if you're okay with doing the rigmarole of emulation? You know what I mean? Like, that. The second thing, here's the real thing I wanted to talk about with this. If the only thing that's important about emulation is the preservation of important art, then you don't get to play it. Because I don't get to keep the Mona Lisa in my house. It just exists in a museum. Like, it's being preserved somewhere, but preservation is completely different from playing it, you know? So like having the right to do something with it is not the same as preservation. So
because you have the right to preservation, that is legally protected. You can you can download the ROM, or you can't legally download the ROM. You could legally rip the ROM. You can rip the ROM if you have the hardware to do that. But legally you can't play it. But all you care about is preservation though, so it's fine. You don't have to play it because all you want to do is preserve it. I get it. Fight the good fight. But also remove from that, it's crazy that like his gotcha moment is like the one of the big figureheads in the most pirated part of the industry, the place where piracy runs rampant, says that piracy doesn't matter. So like, what? So like, Steam didn't stop piracy. It didn't. People still pirate games on PC all the time. All the time. It didn't fix it.
Man.
But you know where piracy is much less of an issue? On the closed platforms where it is hard to pirate games. Novel concept, I know. It's crazy. I get it. I know that it's hard to grasp.
It's just like this whole thing is like, I know people, this is it's a popular thing to think. And all of it is very like, we tend to think kind of, I don't know, business, not business first, but like what just makes sense as doing something as a business. You know what I mean? And also ideally pro-consumer, but like,
yeah. And I would even push back against that some, because a lot of it, again, I don't care if you emulate. I don't care.
Yeah.
But my thought process goes to like responding to what is being said to me.
Yeah, right.
Like if you're arguing something that is not true to your actual, like what you were actually doing, and what like that, and that like the potential outcome that you're arguing in favor of isn't the actual potential outcome in reality, that is where my arguments are usually, because again, I don't care, emulate whatever you want, I don't sincerely care. But don't then like come up with this like fake argument. Like if you're just going to emulate it, I'm telling you, you're not Robin Hood. You're not solving world hunger by emulating Super Mario 3. But like a lot of people present it like that, where it's like they're offering the world a service. Like the corporation's keeping us down. They're not letting us eat food and drink water. So I'm going to emulate freaking the Blob. Like, like are you kidding me? It's dumb. Like if you're going to emulate, just emulate. I don't care, but you don't have to like act holier than thou about it. Like ironically enough, like you're stealing and acting like the one that is like righteous somehow. It's crazy to me. Like
so that stuff. The last bit of this comment is just, I hope I don't sound too aggressive or defensive, but the truth is, but the truth is that this is not the first time Nintendo does something anti-consumer. And look, I was actually excited and even willing to pay for the expansion pack if it costed like $10 more a year. But this, I'm sorry, I obviously have nothing against anyone who's willing to pay for this, but it is a bad service, especially if you see how the competition is offering much better services while Nintendo drops just a few titles and expects us to pay more than double for it.
Yeah, no, that's not true. That's not how this works, because they don't have a gun to your head. They're not forcing you to pay literally anything. They're not beholden to their competitors, and they're not even beholden to you or us or anybody that bought a Switch, because they're not making us pay for it. You know, like,
I mean, the only thing they're beholden to is like business, I guess, and like trying to stay afloat business wise, you know, like, and so I mean, honestly, they could have made this $100, like $300 a year, and I would have made a video that was like, well, I mean, it is a ripoff at that point, but it's like, here's probably what they were thinking, I guess, but like, I'm not paying that. There's no way I'm paying that. You know what I mean? Like
the thing is, like, it's not that wouldn't be a disservice to us. Because again, we're not forced to buy it. It's a disservice to them because we're not going to buy it.
And they're not going to make any money.
Yeah, exactly. But this, though, people will buy and are buying. So that argument isn't there.
You know, and again, like the subjectivity of it, that like you said, with the $80 a year family pass, that like legitimately, if I think, all 8 people on my family plan are all going to play some amount of the DLC. Maybe some of them just wouldn't have gotten the DLC without it, but at least half, if not more, would have gotten the DLC. So that said, that like at that point, if it's $30 extra, or if it's $25 for the DLC and the family plan is $45 more than the base family plan was, just 2 people, like even if I just do this for 1 year, then like I've paid for 8 people's for the price of less than 2 people's copies of the DLC. So like that's worth it for me for sure, for, you know, for a year or whatever. And like technically for more years past that, even if nothing else comes of this, and I can just cancel the service and like whatever. So it's, you know, it's just subjectively, you know, what's it worth to anybody? I had one more comment, but we've talked about this for so long. So I'm calling it there.
Same.
What a time. Oof. All right. All that said, that's it for our videos. Now we've got Q&A.
True. Did we not have Twitter or Discord?
I've got Discord down here.
I
forgot to. Well, I didn't really forget to ask Twitter. I was gonna ask Twitter like right after your video went up, and I was like, I don't want to like. muddy the water with
yeah,
the
yeah,
double
yeah,
tweets. So I was just like, we're just assuming no Twitter questions this time. So YouTube community, I asked people if the update is getting them to play Animal Crossing again or not. And so 37% said, yep, they're playing it again because of the update. 23% said, I used to play it, but I'm not playing it again because of the update. 18% never played it at all. And 16% never stopped playing. Other 7%. I don't know what
does other mean.
They didn't tell. I just put it there. So,
I don't know what other could mean.
I don't really know either.
I guarantee people voted other because that was like the meme option. That was like, like, well, other.
Yep. So there you go. All right. So Let64 said, never fully stopped checking in on Animal Crossing New Horizons, but now I'm really playing again. My wife is in the same boat. I do have a few friends who've come back from not playing.
Nice.
Like us.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah, me too. Falcon said, other indeed. And there you go. And then said, well, here, I'll move the actual question part to afterwards. There you go. Zach Thomas said, undecided, but I'll probably cave at some point. And Trevor said, best game. Who has never played it?
Never played it. Hates the game. Hates it.
Yep. And now Q&A, real ones. Falcon asked, Parker, how was your first birthday as Papa Parker? It was good. Trev said my favorite game. Yep. It was good. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So the night before, so my birthday was last Friday, and on Thursday we had planned to go to there was I don't know where, somewhere in Nashville. They were doing like outdoor movie theater thing, set up like a projector and all that. And then like have food trucks that have like food and beer and wine and whatever, and to go watch a movie there. And they were showing Hocus Pocus, which I've never seen. And was going to be fun. And then it got rained out, and then it didn't rain. So it just didn't happen. But so it was kind of disappointing, but honestly, probably like it would have been Ezra's first night getting babysat by her grandparents anyway. And she is not in the phase of life that she's going to enjoy that right now. Like anytime we're away from her for more than very long at all, she's pretty sad. So I think it wouldn't have really worked out, but yeah, so that was the plan. But the benefit of that was that because we were doing that night, I was like, we'll be getting back kind of late. I had already taken the day off for my actual birthday, which that meant that we, got to just have the day off and stuff. So yeah, it was good. Birthday wise, we went to McKay's that sells like used books, video games, music, stuff like that. And the only thing I bought there was they also do like Pokemon cards that probably people just bring in a bunch of Pokemon cards, I guess. And then they just like kind of bundle them together. I don't think one of the packs, or they both had like one or two rares in them, but like no holographics. But I'm working on organizing Pokemon cards, and I've got here. Oh, whatever. I'll just put a picture up on Twitter later. I got a box for that fits 5,000 Pokemon cards, and I was like, man, this might have been a mistake. That's so many cards, and it's not as far off as I thought it was. So yeah, I've got a lot of them at this point, but yeah, the nice thing with all that, this is like tangents on tangents. At this point, I'm just updating people on random things in my life. So sorry, you're welcome. The nice thing with that is like the way that I had my cards organized before was like very favorable to the sets that I was collecting. And then if I get any new stuff, it was kind of like cool, but I don't really know what to do with this. So it just kind of go in a random place that doesn't feel like it helped anything. Like it felt like I was gypped, even if it's like a really cool holographic that's a part of a newer set. It felt like but it doesn't fit into the older stuff. So
I do want to say,
I don't know. Yeah. So what do I do with
should not say that. That's not.
What were you gonna say, Gen Oneer?
No, that.
Oh,
I don't want to say it because it's not nice. It's a bad thing for gypsies. That's like not good. But I'm sure you weren't aware.
Wait, did I say something that was a bad thing?
Yes.
I don't even.
I don't want to say it.
Okay, cool.
But I mean, you.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah. But I'm sure that it was the obviously it
interesting.
wasn't.
In my mind, it was always spelled like
yeah,
legitimately differently.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. So I was, yeah. Wow. Okay. Now other people are confused. Just scroll back like 2 minutes and you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
What a time.
I just
All right,
wanted to have the educational moment.
Yes, sounds good. Yeah, exactly. No, in my mind, it always started with the J.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it was just fully different.
I know
So
a lot of people don't even know that, like, in
yeah,
fairness, but it's good for people to know that because, like,
of
even
course.
if it's like by accident, you could be hurting somebody, and that's not.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Trev just put, and knowing is half the battle, G.I. Joe.
Facts.
So all that said, yeah, it was like before it felt like, you know, new cards didn't really have a place in my collection. Whereas now I'm going through.
You mean you put the cards that Pokemon Company provided out of their very kind hearts in a random spot? They were in the box. I think that you said, who cares about Pokemon Moon? And now, now with the Pokemon cards,
yep,
shaking my head.
Now with them. No, but so yeah, now everything is like
heathen.
better organized to where I haven't finished yet, so I'm still working through some of that, but I'll have a place where, like, if I get new cards, and ideally, especially if they're cool, they've got a place to go and they'll fit in and it'll be great. So yeah, it's all good. And then also for my birthday, one of the things Ashley got me just a nicer Pokemon card binder, like a newer one, where I'm just putting base, fossil, and jungle, because they're the ones that, like, I'm pretty close to having completed them. Probably a couple $100 technically away. Like, I haven't gone through and bought stuff, but like a bunch of the cards I could get for like probably 75% of them I could get for like $40. And then there's a couple that I would have to shell out a little bit more for. So we'll see with that.
I don't know if Parker's buying any new stuff.
Was it? Oh, I don't know. Where do you buy it? I don't know where you buy things these days.
When I bought the couple of packs that I bought on Amazon. If I can't find it on Amazon, I'm out of here, dude. But I might. Yeah. I don't know. I need to start hitting up Pokemon Company. Like, yo,
yeah,
what's up? But I haven't done that. I just let them send whatever they're going to send. But I should probably start hitting them up to, like, let them know I am very interested.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm definitely interested in the celebration stuff, but like, how many different cards are there within that? Because it looks like, from the number I've seen of other people's, it looks like so many. Is it really just 50?
I didn't know how much the run was, but I know that the like packs are smaller.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh. So yeah, that's it. It's a good Trev said he's missing only one out of the base 25. That's rough. I wish that there were a way for, there's not a more fun way that's feasible for me to finish out these 3 sets without spending, way too many money. Because, like, really the only way I can do it at this point is, like, buying them as one-offs, which is fine. It's not like fun particularly, but it is nice to, like, it's a nice sense of completion. It's just not exciting. Whereas, like, getting a booster pack and be like, wow, that's the, holographic victory bell I didn't have, or something like that.
Yep.
But I'm not going to do it.
And like what Trev said, buying individual cards is less fun. Like, being able to pull those cards would be even more expensive.
Yeah. Oh, like, so much more.
Like we're
hundreds of thousands of dollars more. Maybe. Especially because of the number you need to do to eventually get them. You could just get really unlucky and, like, so that's never going to happen. So I'm totally fine with, especially knowing that, like, these are the 3 sets that I'm going to finish, makes it all kind of just feel not as bad, where there's a goal in sight. So that's a nice thing. But yeah, all in all, that's been a fun thing. I've got some card sleeves on Amazon so that I can put some holographic ones in there, and all that. Yeah. Wow, man. He said Mega Man has a full set of first editions. That's never going to happen for me. I've got some first editions for sure, but not that many. So yeah, to answer Falcon's question and close that topic up, first birthday was great. Yeah, watch the video that AJ put up that I'm going to put a link to, and or that he edited, and that was just funny and touching. Did you watch? I guess yeah, you watched the other people's, even that you didn't edit. So like Kevin's, the famous friend.
Mm-hmm.
I was just cracking up the whole time. He's the worship leader at my church and is just a wonderfully silly guy.
It's a good video.
It's good. All right. Questions. Continuing on from Discord. Low Rule Legend asked, with the DK expansion coming to Super Nintendo World and the Donkey Kong movie in the works, feels like Nintendo is totally about to leverage the DK brand with a new game. We know there were a lot of rumors that a new game's coming, but what do you hope / expect that a new game would be? And do you expect it to do well considering the Switch's success?
I hope it's Donkey Kong, the movie, the game. how
Donkey Kong, the ride, the movie, the game.
Donkey Kong, the ride, the movie, the game.
Yep.
But no, I mean, just like we talked about with Kirby, I want a 3D one. And not even because like I want everything to be 3D, but just because I want to see what they would do and how they would make it good. Like I want a 2D Splatoon game.
Yeah, right.
Like I just want to see in series that it's applicable what they would be like in different formats. And Donkey Kong is one that we only saw one 3D Donkey Kong game, and it's not great. So I would love to see them make a new one. So hopefully,
Jeff said, "I want a 6D. I want a 6D Zelda game," but you don't see me complaining. Is that not you complaining right now? That's true. Sounds like complaining. No, I fully agree with it.
He asked me to complain. I'm complaining because Low Roll Legend solicited my complaint.
Indeed, there it is. For me, yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree with the 3D one. Because honestly, I don't know. Maybe they've got more ideas than I've got for 2D. Like, I feel like we've got pretty good ideas for games pretty often. And for me, in 2D Donkey Kong, I just can't think of much that's that different from Tropical Freeze or, you know what I mean? Like,
if I had to.
Yeah.
I don't want to. So, you know, like, that's like, like if you'll see my ideas for it if they announce that they're doing it and they don't tell us what it is.
Yes, right.
But right now, in the world where I don't have to think about that, I don't want to.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just seems like the sky's the limit with 3D Donkey Kong because it's just kind of has untapped potential.
Yeah, exactly. But 2D Donkey Kong, there's so many good 2D Donkey Kong games.
Yeah.
There's like 6 at least.
Yeah. And the last bit is, what do you hope? Do you expect it to do well considering the Switch's success?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think it will do like crazy. I think it will do like somewhere between like Mario Maker and like Kirby Star Allies, somewhere in the like 4 to like 5 million range.
I guess also depending on whether it's 2D or 3D. If it's 2D, I expect it to be pretty like, average performance. Like it'll do well, but
if it's 3D, I would.
If it's 3D, then
if it's 3D and it's good, I would bump that up.
I think Kirby and the Forgotten Lands would be a good indication too of how well it would do. Just be like it being a similar like platform or mascot platformer kind of thing. And like, how well do people take to these characters? That, I mean, obviously it's different characters, and also Donkey Kong is going to be more heavily advertised, and like people know Donkey Kong better than Kirby for the most part. But yeah, still feel like it's kind of similar wheelhouse.
True.
Yeah. And last question, because we already asked Mega Man's question. Alec asked us, I'm making chili tonight, which at this point, Alec, you've already made that chili.
It's true.
Congratulations.
He said it in the chat at one point.
Or it's like in the middle of cooking at this point, so I can't remember how it turned out, but I hope your chili's going well. I'm making chili tonight. So my question is, are you beans or no beans in your chili?
No beans, but I don't like beans generally.
Oh, so interesting.
That's why no beans for me. I don't really have a strong stance in like whether they belong in chili or not, because I know that's like a whole thing. It's like beans belong in chili, beans don't belong, but I don't really care. But I just don't like beans.
Yeah. So. I will answer thusly. depends on what you're using the chili for. If it's standalone chili, that's just like, I'm just eating chili, then beans. But like not too many beans, because I've definitely had chili before where it's just like it's just bean city and it's too much. And then that's that. But if it's chili that's being used as a garnish for something else, like chili dogs or like skyline
Like
chili or
yeah,
that kind of thing. Like if it's chili that's like not the primary focus, but it's like, related to something else, then absolutely no beans in that chili. Like I don't want to, I mean, I would eat it, but I don't want to eat a chili dog with beans in it, is my thought. Chili is a condiment.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Chili is a condiment, no beans. Chili is the main course, beans.
No beans across the board for me. Get the beans out of my face.
Beans out of it.
I'm not down with beans. I'm not down with coffee beans. I'm not down with the only beans I like is the Skittles jelly beans.
Honestly, yeah, jelly beans.
Vanilla beans cool too. Vanilla beans also good, but that's not even a bean. It doesn't look like a bean. It looks like a stick.
I remember as a kid thinking that jelly beans were just great across the board, and now there are very few jelly beans that I would be excited about eating.
I don't like, because there's the beans. I mean the jelly beans that are like, they like have very similar consistency to regular beans, and they're like kind of relatively flavorless. Not great.
Yep, it's true. I will say
to bussin'. AJ don't know.
To defend beans,
I am aware about the vegetarian thing, because when I went to Full Sail and they had a party, it was like one of their parties, they had free food, and they're like, oh, it's free food, and all of it was freaking like Beyond Burgers and stuff, and it was like it was like, and they're like, yeah, no, it is not meat, and I was like, yo, this is very clearly beans, because it has the freaking consistency of beans, and I hate it. It's beans.
Beans.
I mean, and that's the like, they could taste good. I don't know. I can't get past the consistency.
Consistency is weird. I actually like beans.
I'm not down.
What?
You actually like beans?
I like beans. Sorry, my mother-in-law's calling me for some reason. I don't know. Here, I'll let you talk for a second. I'm gonna mute myself. Okay. I saw that she called Ashley a couple times too, so we'll see.
We eat so many beans in this house. Impossible beef is the go-to if you want fake meat. I don't want fake meat, or I don't need it particularly. But I had the freaking, and I don't even know if it was like that brand specifically, because I didn't see the packaging. I just saw the freaking burger stand at Full Sail University, and I was like, yo, I want free food. And then I got the free food, and it was not good. Trevor and I are going to start a vegetarian podcast. What's it called? What's the name of the vegetarian podcast? What platforms is it on? What days does it go up? Beans be bussin'. Nah, that's cursed. Alec, what's your name? What's your pitch? Quad B, for those who know. What does that even mean? You're saying people that are in on the podcast call it Quad B? They call it BBB?
I don't even know about a B.
Beans and the bean
I
podcast.
see. Yes, beans be bussin'. It's Quad B. There it is. Well, I think that's it for the podcast. I'm pretty sure. So good job, everybody. We did it. As the question, if you want to answer a question in the comments, what's the best kind of bean? No beans is an acceptable answer.
Yes, the correct answer. Some like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast. Thanks for listening. Watch Parker's video. Goodbye.
Bye.